Crew 8 returns. Booster 13 static fires insanely fast after Flight 5. A Raptor 2 went crazy at McGregor. New Shepard flew, and Elon played Diablo on stream while he was in an internal Starship meeting, and we got a few juicy details regarding the catch on Flight 5 and timing for Flight 6 on this week's Flame Trench.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. SPD off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to the Flame Trench. That's right, this is NSF's weekly informal news show where we talk about all the crazy stuff that's happened this week and get a little spicy sometimes. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. We are an independent news media organization comprised of insanely dedicated individuals who just want to get everybody excited about the future of spaceflight that we are so fortunate to live in today. But as always, we have the OG, the standard Flame Trench crew this week, starting off with EJ, who I must note is not reading a book right now. What's up, EJ?
Hey, sorry, I'm playing Diablo right now.
Wait, everybody shut up. Listen, there might be some interesting things audible in the background.
No internal meetings this time.
Ah, dang it. All right, cool. Also joining us on today's stream, we have Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like I need some kind of creative intro or opening. Man, EJ, that was a good one this time. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Just like throw Jake at the camera every time, like, wah!
Of course, now whenever I'm on the air, he doesn't show up anymore. So, yeah. And anyway, you should probably just change my title to Jake's Human rather than, anything for NSF.
You should Pavlov Jake. Can you Pavlov a cat? Give him catnip every time you're about to go on Flame Trench. That way he always shows up, like Friday at the same time. Play a little bell or whatever.
Cat, maybe.
Yeah. I love that show. Cat Dog? All right. Cool. Well, let's just jump right into it. But first, I do want to remind Chatland out there that you can ask questions, type at NASASpaceflight, and your questions will pop up in some software we have running in the background. Or you could be extra cool and be watching this on EJ's Twitch, in which case you can talk in Twitch chat and probably do things like make fun of me and that I don't ever see or whatever, because I'm sure there's
don't do that.
Stuff like that going on over there based on the DMs that I get after Flame Trenches.
That is not true.
Are you sure?
What's that? Look over there.
Why have suddenly a whole bunch of different people independently started calling me Yak? Is that certainly not something you would tell your Twitch chat to do, right?
Hey, wait a minute. I told them to not do that.
Right, okay.
But usually they do the opposite of what the streamer says.
I was going to say, it's Twitch. Of course they're going to do the opposite.
Yeah, they usually do the opposite.
All right, well, we have a lot to talk about this week, not least of which that leaked Starship meeting audio. Although, is leaked even the right? It's like posted. The posted Starship meeting audio from Elon, which we will get to. But first, let's talk about Crew 8. Sawyer?
Thanks, Yak. So, in case you're wondering, Crew 8 is now back. And not only is it back, it is back after setting some crazy records here. Crew 8 is now the longest Crew Dragon spaceflight to date. With the crew undocking yesterday and splashing down early this morning, they've now spent 235 days and 5.5 hours total in space for Crew Dragon Endeavour. Which, fun fact, when you combine all of its time in space, I believe that's over 700 days of flight time over those 5 days. I don't know if it's fun or not, but it now has more flight time than the actual Space Shuttle Endeavour, which is still the best shuttle, and no one can argue that.
Continue. Please continue.
I know you want to argue it, but you can't. But yeah, that you could see there, we actually caught it on the Starbase live cameras as they splashed down eventually just near Pensacola, Florida, in Florida's Panhandle. So the crew set that record there as well, finally undocking. So that was a human spaceflight record there for that crew, which made for some interesting things upon the return as well. So they splashed down, they were picked up onto the ship. They were then, according to NASA, flown via helicopter to a hospital/medical facility near Pensacola. So something happened there medically, and there was a statement from NASA that said after medical evaluation at the hospital, 3 of the crew members departed Pensacola and arrived at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. The one astronaut who remains is in stable condition under observation as a precautionary measure. To protect the crew members' medical privacy, specific details on the individual's condition or identity will not be shared. So, interestingly, they didn't say who it was, what it was, just the evaluation was requested out of an abundance of caution.
What do we think about that? I appreciate the sort of the anonymity there. Like, it's respectful, right? And I feel like with astronauts, we like treat them as celebrities. A lot of time news media will like pick apart their lives or this or that. Like, I appreciate that. I mean, while I'm curious what's going on and I want everyone to be okay, I appreciate the discretion that is being exercised by NASA. Am I alone in that? Are we mad that we don't have more info? Like, how do we feel about that?
Hey, medical records are everybody's own personal business, man. Astronauts are no exception to this.
Hip hippa hooray!
Yep. Yeah,
So
no, I think NASA's been as transparency. Oh, jeez, sorry, screwed me up.
Sorry.
As per usual.
My brain just went. Also, yeah, I watched the whole Crew 8 thing, but I do have some things to say about that. But in terms of medical privacy, I think NASA has been as transparent as they possibly could, while being, classy about it. They're straightforward, but it's enough to obfuscate who their astronauts, potential cosmonauts' private medical records, which are their business and their business alone. It's not we don't go prying into that. You don't want to open up that box.
The Texas Bandit in chat says Barfopolis. Interesting use of terminology. Barfopolis and passing out. I imagine that reentry after that long is rough. Yeah, I do wonder sort of what the deal is, but it's one of those. If it's one of those out of an abundance of caution things, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about it. EJ, I want to hear what you have to say about Crew 8, but first I need to yell a little bit.
Oh, no.
I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. after having been awake at 7 a.m. for booster static fire activities, which didn't happen until the early evening. I went out to Starbase, and it was visible. Crew 8 was visible re-entering from Starbase. I finally got to check that box. I've always wanted to see a crew capsule coming in, and it was gorgeous. I blew my photos. I blew the video. I have, crappy video. So, yeah, can't win them all. Sorry, I blew it. But, yeah, there's my small rant. I'm an idiot. Turns out shooting a crew capsule is really hard, and I have a lot more respect for Max and D being able to capture the Polaris Dawn capsule coming in over the Keys. There, you can see, this is from our hotel camera. I didn't even see it at this point. I was sitting here staring at the frickin' launch site firing off long exposures, not framed properly, and I didn't see it until it was out, like, over the Gulf. I'm an idiot. But you can't win them all. But yeah, super cool to see Crew 8 capsule re-entering over Starbase, as if you needed any other, like, underscoring of SpaceX firing on all chambers here. Not only static firing a brand new booster days after Flight 5, days after catching a booster, but also re-entering a human, like a crewed capsule. Just insane. Also, oh yeah, there was 4 Falcon 9 launches this week. Like, what the heck?
Well, hopefully
It's
the
wild.
chambers that fired were ones that were supposed to.
Yes, only the ones that were supposed to. But yeah, EJ, what's your Crew 8 take?
Well, actually, it's good that we're showing this footage right here. So this footage, it's in the next shot when they have the infrared footage of the drogue chute deploying off of Dragon. So I noticed a couple things from this reentry that we haven't really seen before. And don't get me wrong, I haven't checked back against every single Dragon reentry, but yeah, here it's in this next shot. Watch right there. Look, debris coming off the thing, and one of the pieces of debris gets caught in the drogue chute. I've never seen that happen before. You certainly don't want anything. And now, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is necessarily correlated with astronaut health. Obviously, the parachute. They aren't going to get upset that the parachute something got caught in the parachute. But there is debris coming off of that thing, and some of it does get caught in the drogue. We haven't seen that before. I'm pretty sure that's never happened. The other thing that I noticed is that right before that WB-57's footage, this Endeavour was coming down firing its RCS like crazy. Now, once again, night landing, you're going to see it, but it was a lot of pulsing on the RCS to keep it on an even keel. Now, I don't know. It could be because what we do know, SpaceX did tell us that Crew 8 is enabled in a landing contingency if the parachutes fail, where they can ignite the Super Dracos, and maybe this had something to do with that. But yeah, either way, you do not want anything hitting a parachute. Like, I know I'm kind of the professional moron, right? Like, but I know enough about this stuff to know you don't want anything messing with chutes. So,
Right.
Yeah, something a little strange going on there. I mean, I'm sure SpaceX could probably figure it out, but yeah, that's just something I thought would be very interesting. Also,
Sorry, really quick. Didn't
Yeah,
Polaris have that same Draco contingency option, and we did not see like any debris from that I can recall?
Yeah, see, like I said, I checked it against other NASA missions. I think you're right. I'd have to go look, but yeah, that's a good point, Jack.
That's interesting. I did not catch. I mean, I was out and about, not watching the reentry stream, so I did not catch
good.
that. That's slightly disconcerting.
You do not want something messing with the chutes.
No, absolutely not.
That's an absolute no-no. But another thing that I did notice, and I didn't do a crazy amount of research, is that, and once again, Kevin, I wasn't expecting you or Jay to have this footage kind of teed up, but if you look at during the egress operations, right before they open up the hatch door, you see something vent on Dragon. Now, I'm pretty sure it's Dragon's open loop, or Dragon's like air dump. It's up towards the nose cone on the sides of the capsule. There's 2 on one side, 1 on the other. That thing vented out when one of the guys went to adjust the recovery rigging on the capsule. Like, once again, this footage is very specific. So I'm not expecting them to have it, but we did see some venting going out there. And I mean, I'm not sure if we've seen that before, but then again, it could have been the right atmospheric conditions. It could have been the right temperature just to see it. Like, when the boosters come back, Jack, I mean,
our crack production team, they found it.
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Sweet.
Thanks,
there
Jay.
it is.
Thanks, Jay.
Oh, you guys are legends. Thank you.
I forget
introduce
Jay.
him.
Every time I forget to introduce Jay, I introduce myself, I talk about the show, I tell everyone to ask their questions. I never introduce Jay. Jay Keegan is operating today's stream. I like Jay. Jay's good, even if sometimes he is not understandable. Like, you have to ask him to repeat himself like 10 times. Because we're stupid Americans and can't understand his amazing accent.
I understand it just fine.
I'm glad you have magical golden ears, because I certainly don't. Anyways, Jay, you're awesome. Thanks for operating the stream. EJ, please continue.
It would be in the top left. See that rope that's going around the upper parts of Dragon? The guy, see right there. There it is, left side. Now, once again, I'm pretty sure that that's not anything, but that's just something that I don't ever recall seeing. But then again, like I said, professional moron. I'd have to go back and look. I get paid for it. Trust me. So there is there were some things that I haven't seen before. Now, once again, whether that has any correlation with the crew being sick or not sick or an abundance of caution, I don't know. The reason why you'd be worried about venting from the capsule is because you cast your mind back to 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test project. The Apollo capsule came down, and one of the thrusters had a hydrazine leak, and that got the crew sick. Because the thrusters that these spacecraft use are designed to basically stay up there for long periods of time. They're very simple pressure-fed systems, and they're carrying fuel, monomethyl hydrazine and nitrogen tetroxide. These are hypergolic fuels. They're like that sounds like some crazy toxic chemical. It's because, it is.
It's because they are.
It's because it is. And these propellants are designed to stay liquids up there for long periods of time, as opposed to like the boil off that you get from liquid oxygen or liquid methane or liquid hydrogen, right?
But hey, Booster 13's in the air. Sorry.
Oh, crane assisted takeoff. There we go. But it's that I don't think that vent is hydrazine, but the reason why I noticed is because venting around the capsule during egress operations is something that's a little bit on the be careful side. But
I mean, that's why they have the sniffers that go out right after it lands, and then once it comes back on the boat again, they also have the little sticks that they stick in there to sniff out in case there's any leaks of those. The reason I also don't think that it's hydrazine or anything like that, and why I don't think it's related to the crew health, is the fact that nobody else on board the boat that we know of was sick from that. Everyone looked fine that was on the deck during it. So if it was something more hazardous, I'm pretty sure they would have had their gas masks still on.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry. When I noticed it when I was watching it last night, because Jack, I'm with you. I stayed up watching it too. When I noticed it, I looked around. Nobody seemed to care. So if it's not a big deal to them, I'm gonna say it's probably not a big deal at all. Like I'm pretty sure that's Dragon's cabin vents. I think. But yeah, I've never seen it do that before. Point is that kind of completely separated from the crew health problems. Crew 8 did some weird stuff that we haven't seen before during entry. Like the parachute thing, you want to figure that one out. That's you don't want pieces of the spacecraft coming off when you didn't intend for that to happen. That doesn't usually end well.
Well, also significant with that is the fact that this is the longest any United States spacecraft has ever been continuously in space.
Yep.
So I wonder, what was Crew Dragon rated for originally? 6 months, and then they've upped it? Because this was 8 months of stay. So over what they typically do for Crew Dragon by 2 months. So potentially they'll learn some things about how the spacecraft is able to withstand the space environment for those extra months up there.
Every time they recover a piece of hardware, especially one that's like a life leader in a certain way, you just got to think that they are recovering not just the hardware and not just saving on, money building new hardware, but also it's just a treasure trove of data. So it's certainly going to help SpaceX inform future Dragon flights, and I'm sure ultimately Starship as well, once they eventually get Starships actually re-entering and being reused and what have you. But yeah, that's a good to point out, Sawyer. It did spend a heck of a long time in space.
Mm-hmm.
And also more records for Endeavour, which is the best, despite the poll that was very biased earlier.
There was a poll. Atlantis is the best shuttle. The poll is correct. Let's move on.
No, it is not. But in terms of the Crew 8 health, we have seen it before where people have had issues returning and readapting to gravity. And again, when we've seen long-duration space flights, the year-long flight that Scott Kelly did, that was launched and returned on Soyuz. So that was a whole different recovery process where they literally take them out in the seat versus having to drag them out of the capsule onto a stretcher like they do here. And again, long record. There was even an astronaut during one of the shuttle welcome home press conferences that fainted twice during it because they were still readjusting to gravity.
Let's do some Crew 8 questions. Chat, I'm looking at you right now, guys. So if you have a question about Crew 8, probably
So cover
a
your
good time.
webcams.
Put tape over it. Yeah, if you have any questions, now's probably a good time to ask. EJ, Devin is asking if you noticed any changes in telemetry around the time of the drogue issue that you noted. They're curious if there was an extra jolt or something. They know there were a lot of fast timers too. Hopefully just nausea. Yeah, I don't know. Did you notice any change in the old telemetry there?
I didn't. They didn't have the telemetry up during those shots, so at least I don't think they did. I mean, I don't know. It was late. I was looking at the capsule. If there was telemetry, I saw the stuff coming off the capsule and I went, huh, like I'm like, that's, you don't want that. So I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, no, I mean, it's very clear that this descent was a little bit different because, I mean, even if you go back a little ways during that reentry, like right when Endeavor's coming out of plasma, the RCS is pulsing like crazy. I don't really recall ever seeing that previously. And once again, it could have been the atmospheric conditions, right? Jack, I was saying this before. We shift the conversation a little bit. Like when a booster comes back, sometimes it leaves a vapor cone, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's a huge cone on it, sometimes it doesn't. It's all about. It could be the atmospheric conditions. It's possible. Like I'm not smart enough there to be able to tell you if one way or the other.
Right.
But it's very like I don't ever remember them like these thrusters were going off like crazy. Like it was a lot.
Huh. Well, hopefully we get some more information here soon, and we know a little bit more about that crew member. Just want to know that they're okay. They're out of observation, and maybe we'll get some information from SpaceX as to proximate cause. I don't know. Certainly they're going to be looking at this stuff internally. Maybe Elon will play Diablo on stream, and there'll be an internal meeting, and we'll get to hear details.
I was going to say, information from SpaceX, you say?
For real, though, that actually happened. Elon was in a Starship meeting. I mentioned at the top of the show. We're going to talk about it. There was some cool stuff there.
What, you think NASA wouldn't tell us that?
Did they put the booties back on the Raptor engines after static fire? That's lame.
They were cold.
A lot of times when they do a booster lift, like when they get a new booster out to the pad, it's got the booties on it. They lift it onto the mount, they take the booties off, they do the static fire, and then when they remove the booster from the mount, the booties are back on. Or the booties are still off, but now they're back on. I don't like that. Don't love that.
Well, they're
What,
cold,
you don't like
man.
looking at booties, Jack?
Yeah.
Let's do some more questions. David is asking, EJ, why do you have a Model M keyboard? What does that even mean? Are you one of those clicky keyboard guys?
I do have a clicky keyboard, but it's not a Model M. It's DOS Keyboard Professional.
You stole DOS's keyboard?
Yeah. Dude, I was like, oh, that's good. I'm going to take that. It's just like, I'm snatch and grab. Let's go.
Yoink!
I do have Model M's. I have like 3 of them over there.
Nice.
Just saying.
Pauline Brock. I like this one because I'm a tinfoil hat guy. Pauline Brock is asking, what are the chances the medical thing is a cover for the defection of the Russian cosmonaut? It's not the Cold War anymore. I don't think so. But fair question.
I mean, he was giving a whole bunch of thumbs up to the NASA guys,
I mean, just going to throw this out there. If I just landed back on Earth after re-entering the atmosphere in a ball of plasma, I'd probably be all thumbs up, regardless of who was greeting me at the open hatch. I'd just be like, yes, I lived! Oh, good. Let's see. Scott's asking if the Crew 8 capsule came in faster than normal, meaning more heat on entry. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so...
Go ahead, EJ.
Go ahead, Sawyer. No, you can go, dude.
I was just going to say we didn't really have the telemetry, but based off of their splashdown zone in relation to, where the recovery ships and everything were, it seemed like it was pretty much on target, as they would expect. So I wouldn't think that it would be any different of an angle of entry that could affect heat, EJ?
See, here's the thing, man. What do you mean by more heat, Scott? Because if you're flying on are you going to have, what are you talking about with more heat? Are you talking about the duration of heat? Are you talking about the highest temperature encountered? Because with a steeper reentry trajectory, your time of heating is going to be shorter, but your overall temperature is going to be higher. With Dragon and most actually all space rated, like human rated crafts, right, are going to fly on an extremely shallow trajectory. One, to minimize G-forces, so the crew inside comes out and says, "Yay, I lived!" Not picking them up with a sponge inside of the capsule from the G-forces liquefying them. But yeah, they fly. They also fly shallower because that keeps your peak heating temperature lower. But your duration of heating is a lot longer. So, I mean, what do you mean by more heat? If it's coming in faster, if you're talking about coming in from a higher apogee, right? You're talking about a steeper trajectory. So your heating period would be lower, but your overall temperature would be higher. I don't know. I mean, this question is in regards to I think, if I'm understanding this right, it's in regards to the stuff coming off of Dragon. If that's heat shield, maybe it's possible, but I don't think the trajectory was adjusted. It looked to be a relatively shallow trajectory with what's called a positive perigee. So spacecraft, any Kerbal player is gonna understand this, but I'm getting to it here. So like with spacecraft, like human rated spacecraft, because that whole shallow trajectory thing that I was talking about, they usually don't fully deorbit. You don't go full suborbital. That's a really steep trajectory. That's not really good for it. Like the shuttle needed to coast up there as long as humanly possible, right? And even then, it's a little wishy-washy through there. Like it's. I mean, you've seen with Starship how easy it is to get burned through and stuff, right? So, I did notice that they didn't fully deorbit. Dragons, when they called nominal deorbit burn, the cameras were actually on the inside of Dragon, and you could read the console. And I read the MFDs on Dragon because I'm a nerd. That's what I do.
We love you for it.
Yeah, they had positive perigee. The perigee was at 29 kilometers, which is a shallow trajectory. So I don't think there was more heat. As Sawyer said, it looked to be about right. It looked pretty normal to me, right? Because like I said, a Kerbal player, if you're playing Kerbal, you could just set your perigee to negative and just come straight down. It's just brute force right through it. Real spacecraft can't do that. Kerbals can take those G-forces, but not humans.
Also, how much ablator you go through.
Yeah, exactly. You will toast the ablator doing that.
Okay, completely off topic. Am I doing something wrong in Kerbal? Because I never use all my ablator. And I'll even when I'm building the craft, I'll go in and take down the amount of I guess ablator on the heat shield, so you save a little bit of mass and you save a little bit of money. But I'm like, why should I be doing really, really long, shallow aero braking pad? I never use my ablator. Not much.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna put my hand on the table here. I've played Kerbal. I have 15,000 hours in that game. I streamed it every day for a decade. All right.
That's why I ask.
It's not an exaggeration. The parts in KSP are very, very, very good at absorbing and moving heat around. The way conduction is done in KSP makes it very forgiving during reentry, Jack. So yeah, no, you're not doing anything wrong unless you turn the reentry heating up, and even then, you could still basically just bring anything back down if you fly it on the right trajectory.
Even Duna returns, they still don't go through all of it.
Yeah, I think the only time I've ever come close is Eve. Anytime I go to Eve.
Eve is tough, man.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. Side note, hey, look. That booster is way up the tower.
That's
way up the tower. That is catch height. Interesting. I wonder if SpaceX is doing some testing or some validation of the reinforcements they've done to the chopsticks and tower here. Interesting. Such a shame those booties are on the Raptor. That would be one heck of a shot of the business end of Booster 13. Dang it.
You just want to read the numbers, don't you?
I desperately want to read the numbers. I want to see if there's a 420 Raptor on there or whatever, any other meme Raptor. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I love the meme Raptors.
I mean, we had 314 on the last one.
Yeah. So interesting. SpaceX not only doing their testing with Booster 13 on the mount to do a static fire, but also testing some of the GSE as well. Neat.
They should just do a drop test, see how it goes from that high.
I still think they should throw a single Raptor on Booster 14.1 and just yeet that thing into the chopsticks. I think that'd be cool. All right. Well, let me thank some people, and we'll move on. Unless anyone has any further Crew 8 thoughts. I'm still mad I didn't get the shot. I'm so mad. I hate myself. But what else is new?
Don't hate yourself. We love you, Jack.
Hate me.
Chat,
Jeff...
tell him how much we love him.
Stop it. Jeff D, thanks for becoming a Padrat member. Blake Alexander, gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Blake. Always see your name pop up with huge amounts of support, so thanks, buddy. Speaking of that...
where's Balake? Balake, where you at?
Speaking of that, huge amounts of support, the Space Pope. Thank you, Space Pope, for the extremely generous $50 super chat. They say, bless this trench. I'm pretty sure they did that also on yesterday's stream and said, bless this stream. Thank you, Space Pope. We love you in all your reptilian splendor. Wilbo Baggins, thanks for gifting. Don't squint at me. It's a Futurama reference. Don't give me that look, EJ. You know Futurama. You do Zoidberg voice. You know who the Space Pope is.
Yes, you're right, my friend. All right, sorry, I misunderstood.
Revhead gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks so much. Musical Wolves. They say Jake pun tokens. Can Jake make puns?
He makes buns when he does his little kneading.
Aww. I love when cats do that. Booster 12, thank you for the support. They say, they caught me. They really, really caught me.
They caught you?
They caught a Booster 12. Oh, yeah, it doesn't work when you don't say it. Yeah. Good job, Sawyer. Musical Wolves, thanks for the super chat. They say, what's the quickest Dragon has gone from undocking to splashdown? I don't actually know. Do we have any stats on this? I feel like this is a Trevor question. We don't have Trevor.
Someone with a spreadsheet will have the answer.
It's
all right. Well,
like it's not less than a day. That's off the top of my head. We do need the spreadsheets for sure. Also, my voice is going, guys. So if you if you hear me doing that, yeah, I'll mute the mic. My voice is on its way out. I streamed way too much this week.
No worries, man. No worries.
Yeah. So
I mean, I was up till God knows when. So if I look like an exhausted zombie, that's why.
Yeah.
You know what?
I did like 16 and a half hours yesterday, man. My voice is toast.
What?
Wow.
It's toast,
you're
man.
a machine.
I got
man.
nothing left. Yeah, thank you.
I feel like
left.
we've done plenty of long streams here at NSF, like 12-hour streams, stakeout streams, all-day streams waiting for starships to fly. I can do 12 hours, but at a certain point, I'm just like, I have no more gas in the tank. I can't imagine doing 16. You're a machine, my guy.
As a single person, too, not even having hosts and co-hosts to jump in.
Right. Like the closest I think we got to that, or I've gotten to that, is the member stream with D when we did the road trip. That was basically it. So
good.
Or that one where we kept waiting for it to lift, and then it didn't after like 4 or 5 hours. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, SpaceX. It's like, just lift it! Just lift it, for God's sake, lift it!
The longest 45-minute lift of my life. That was actually close to 4 to 5 hours.
Couchy? I don't know how to... C7 Ouchie? I don't know how to say your name. Yeah, I did get ramen. I ate a lot of ramen at like 5 a.m.
What flavor? What flavor?
Miso tokatsu?
Right.
I'm not talking like top ramen, like in the little bag. I'm talking like actual ramen with with the pork belly and the bamboo shoots and mushrooms and the egg. Oh, the egg! I saved the egg. I have leftovers. I'm going to eat it after this, and I cannot wait to eat that delicious soft-boiled egg. Don't look at EJ. We need a counter. Like how many times EJ looks at Jack in disgust counter. What now?
I think we're already at 6.
Dude, you You got it. All right, you got to enjoy the whole meal.
No.
You got to enjoy the whole meal.
No.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You got to enjoy the whole meal. You don't have a 3-course meal and save the dessert for the next day. What are you doing? Sawyer, back me up on this.
Gotta eat all the gabagool.
Yeah, the gabagool. Yeah.
Gabagool. Oh, God.
No, that sounds good, man. It sounds delicious, actually.
MC Echo 46, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Matt's gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Another one of those names that's always popping up with huge amounts of support. Thank you, Matts. Deborah Hall, they say tunics for Jay. Jay, what is a tunic?
Tunic?
I didn't just say. No, TUNNOCKS.
Oh, it's probably a Scottish thing.
Jay says it's tea cakes. They're the best. Deborah, you just made Jay very happy. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, what was the original planned time for Crew 8?
Oh.
Because they were
The
much
weather.
delayed on undocking and coming back, right? Because of bad weather in the recovery areas. Is that the case?
And Crew 9.
Yeah, exactly. Sawyer, you know. Tee it up.
Yeah, I mean, you had of course, there was the hurricanes, which delayed some of it, but the big thing was the fact that Starliner was still there, occupying the other docking port. And that's where Crew 9 needed to dock. And they decided that Crew 8 wasn't going to leave until Crew 9 arrived so that they could do the handover. So that delayed it by about a month and a half, and then add in the weather, and then weather, and then weather, and then eventually they were able to undock.
Got it.
So blame Starliner.
Hey, you guys are talking about tunics. But hold on real quick. Are these, like, not an endorsement, but I have these on my desk. Don't ask why.
Are those stroopwafels?
Are these good?
What are they?
They're digestive. They're chocolatey goodness.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yes.
Love me a good stroopwafel. That's what I thought they were at first.
It is not stroopwafel, no.
Stroopwafel.
Stroopwafel.
Thank you.
You
Nibbles.
silly Jack, you're the one that is saying it wrong.
I didn't say I was right. You're right. I'm wrong. You good, me bad.
I don't
Yes,
know.
Ed boy.
I don't know, man.
It's the Flame Trench. Come on. We're all hanging out this week. It's a good week.
Oh,
Nibbles.
the Berganator said these are good. Heck yeah, man. All right.
He says, no, he
All
didn't
right.
say they were good. He said they're the best. And this is not a
They're the
sponsor.
best.
This is not a
All caps
sponsored
best.
segment. This is not
We're
a
not
sponsored
sponsored by
segment.
them.
We're just hungry guys. We're just a couple of hungry guys.
They are two wild and hungry guys.
Share them? No.
Yeah, no,
Well,
no.
this
Mash
welcome to our space channel where we talk about food and crackers.
and movies. Don't forget movies.
Yes.
Nibbles,
Matt.
thank you for the support. They say, hey, all. With expended Falcon 9, do they just let them fall, or do they orient them to go fast to burn up and hit the ocean as fast as possible? I don't think we know. I mean, I assume it's just, see ya. And then re-entry, heating, and the surface of the ocean does the rest.
I think without the supersonic retro propulsion, which my metal band is going to be named that, by the way.
Such a good name.
Without the entry burn, yeah, you're not getting much of that back.
Yeah, makes sense. Ground umbilical carrier plate.
Yup.
No.
I said it, and I looked directly at Sawyer to watch him cringe.
No.
Ground umbilical carrier plate.
No.
Ground umbilical carrier plate. Ground umbilical
La,
carrier
la, la,
plate.
la, la. I can't hear it except for the fact I have an earpiece in, so I'm just making it louder.
It's like in Lion King when the hyenas are like, Mufasa, ooh. Ground umbilical carrier plate.
Oh.
Thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. That's all it was. It was one Red Team membership.
You
Matt
just want to watch the world burn.
I do. Fire good. Sawyer, I mean, come on. If tens of thousands of years of human history has taught us one thing, and one thing only, I think we can all agree that it's that fire good.
No, except when you get leakage coming out of a carrier plate that's from the ground umbilical system to the space shuttle, yeah. And actually to SLS too, you know, that didn't come back to bite us again. And also leak on that.
The Guck didn't ever belch fire though, right? It was always leaking. It wasn't like on fire.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah, but the problem is the way it was leaking that it would have, caused fire in places where there shouldn't have been fire.
Okay, let me revise my
Also,
statement.
you've triggered NASA Spaceflight Official as well, so thank you for angering both of us. Don't forget Shuttle Sundays! Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, Space Coast Live.
Are we doing one this Sunday, or is it next Sunday? I forget.
I believe this Sunday. We'll double check with the Bergenator, but I believe this Sunday.
Let's go. I love Shuttle Sunday. Yeah, ground umbilical carrier plate. I'm just going to say it one more time.
Continue along.
Mats, thank you for gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Fat Dougie, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Devin, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Greg Watson, they say Space Pope. No one ever expects the Space Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Space Inquisition.
Blood for the Blood God?
Roseanne DeVasto, thank you for gifting. No, thanks for the super chat. They say, little flashback. Thanks for covering Europa Clippers deployment. Brought me back to my SETI days. You got it, Roseanne. Snot Garden gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and Mighty Don Don gifting 5 Red Team memberships. So cool. Thank you all so much. You know, if you watched the Static Fire stream yesterday, you saw that we had a million angles to replay and analyze the burn from, and the only reason we can do stuff like that and the accordingly large team of people who get stuff like that done, and not just the 3 of us who you can see and hear, but everybody at NSF that makes NSF go, we can't do it. We can't do this stuff without your support. So that's why we take the time.
How many bazillions of times have we told you not to exaggerate? Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm more sorry than I've ever been.
Yeah, I mean, it would be crazy if there was like, a quadrillion engine fires or something at McGregor,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's move to that, because holy cow, what is going on at McGregor? And by that I mean they have fired a single Raptor. 51 times back to back now. I think they did like 34, 35 2 days ago, and then yesterday with that same Raptor they did an additional many. So yeah, well, this is cool. If you don't pay attention to McGregor Live, you should probably pay attention to McGregor Live, because something's going on with the tripod stand. Seriously insane. Like, what do we think is happening here? Why would you test a Raptor like this? Is it like a test of destruction? Is it like a life extension program for Raptor 2s? Like, what? I don't know. Let's go around the horn and sort of pick this apart, because I don't think we've seen anything like this at McGregor ever since we set up McGregor Live, at least, and that's like what, 2-3 years ago.
Something about like that, yeah. I mean, it was crazy if you watch them back just to see the smoke plume. I was trying to do a YouTube short on just the 1 day's worth, and I was running out of room in the timeline, and you keep putting them in, it's like, okay, now you can see the engine less and less and less. There's all the smoke, and then it would calm down a bit as they wait for like 12 seconds and then fire it up again. It was absolutely ridiculous, the pace at which they were going at. And I mean, talk about proving the ability to refire a Raptor. I don't think you would ever need to refire a Raptor 34 times in a row, where you burn for about 8 seconds and then start up again 4 seconds later. It was redonkulous, we'll say.
Yeah, so the first tests on Wednesday were 5 firings in short succession over the course of about 2 minutes. And then later in the day, 34 firings back to back. What? EJ, you're a smart guy. Could this have been some kind of like life cycle testing, turbo pump test? I mean, I'm at a loss here. This is like a moment where I wish I was smarter in terms of propulsion engineering, because I'm not.
Okay. So you gotta, I don't know what happened here other than the engine turning on and off a lot, which is super, super, super cool. Like,
Great analysis.
I'm not gonna say what I'm not going to say what the exact, like, I don't know what the reason is, you know what I mean? But we can kind of speculate to it, right? Like, okay, so why are you going to do this? Why are you going to turn this thing on and off so many times? What's that doing? So every time a rocket starts up, all right, and keep in mind, I'm not the best propulsion engineer, but every time a rocket starts up, you're going through a lot of transients. What that means in engineering speak is that a lot of things are changing really, really fast. Like, that crazy fire that comes out the bottom really quickly. All right, you're changing a lot of temperatures. You're changing a lot of not so much temperature, but you're changing pressures. Stuff expands. Fire comes out the bottom. Any machinery, any turbine machinery is starting to move really, really, really quickly, really, really fast. These transients, that puts a lot of stress on the system when you start it. Starting and stopping a rocket engine is some of the hardest parts of getting a rocket engine to rocket engine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the same thing with a plane. The most difficult parts of commercial airline flight are takeoff and landing. The sort of steady state in between those two transients are like every time I'm in a plane, I'm always nervous because it's my brain, even though I love flying. But every time we get in the air and we're at cruise altitude, I'm like, cool, we're good. So that makes sense.
That's exactly it, man. Yeah. There's the same thing with fueling. When you fuel up the vehicle, that's why SpaceX has their launch escape system armed when they fuel the vehicle. And why, Starliner, for instance, they have the vehicle pre-fueled before crew gets near it. It's not that, the rocket being fueled is more or less safe than the rocket not being fueled. It's the fueling process that's the dangerous part. So going back to Raptors here, basically, what they're doing to Raptor there would be like the equivalent of being in a car, putting the gas pedal to the floor and turning the key on and off again. That it is definitely some kind of stress test. Now, like I said, could be testing, life cycle testing. We don't know, but we can speculate, right?
I like speculating.
Okay, so this is the EJ's wild speculation time.
This is my favorite time. This is literally my favorite time. Let's go.
I got three good ones. So, actually 4. The first one is probably the most obvious. This is probably a test mule engine. Sawyer, you know a lot about the shuttle engines. You know that there are engines from the shuttle program that never even flew. They just used them for developmental testing. They just put them on the test stand whenever they want to change something and torture test the engine. It's probably that. It's probably a test mule engine. Now, from here on out, the secondary, tertiary, and the fourth one after that, these theories get crazier and crazier from here. Okay? So this is kind of more what I want it to be than anything, right?
Right.
So, second possibility, this is an engine from Booster 12, which flew, which would be pretty cool, right?
That would be pretty cool. I don't think we've seen a new Raptor installed on the tripod since Booster 12 landed. I could be wrong about that. I am not the McGregor crew.
Right?
Continue, please.
We'd have to see. Like maybe they moved an engine in the middle of the night, right?
Right.
Now, that leads me to the second thing. What booster engines are at McGregor that we know of for a fact? This one is probably the crazier thing.
Booster 11 engines? I don't know what.
Yeah, baby. Maybe they're testing parts. Maybe they got, we know they had Raptor Center engines at McGregor. We know they had parts there from Booster 11. They found their way to McGregor. Now, I'm not saying they put one of those engines on the test stand and sent it. That would absolutely have resulted in an explosion. The nozzles are no good. Why? All right, EJ, the nozzle's bent, so why don't they just buff it out? There's cooling channels in the nozzles, guys. There's copper cooling channels, and if the nozzle is bent, the channels are kinked. And if the channels are kinked inside of there, you're not going to get good cooling, and that pretty much will absolutely result in an explosion, right? So maybe they parted out some of the good parts off of these engines. Now, I know that sounds completely nuts, right? Because these things are sitting at the bottom of the ocean. But we know SpaceX has done weird testing like this in the past. We know that they took parts off of Falcon 9 Booster 1050 after CRS-16 after it took a dunk in the Atlantic Ocean. We know that they've done that. We even saw parts from that Falcon 9 after being saltwater inundated fly on Starhopper. The RCS blocks that were on Starhopper were left over from the booster that took a dunk into the water, right?
Right.
So
right.
they could have parted together, cobbled together one good engine, and then fired it a lot to see what would happen, right? That sounds like something they do, albeit once again, a little weird. But then again, this is the company that did catch a 23-story building with chopsticks the other day, so I wouldn't throw it past them.
The only thing that could cause a wrinkle with that is that we know it was a V2 Raptor.
This is, I do want to take a moment here. I do love, EJ, I was serious. I love wild speculation time with EJ.
All right.
But a lot of people on both X, the Everything app, I see people in chat saying it, was it a Raptor 3? I thought this was Raptor 3. No. Raptor 3 currently can only be tested at McGregor on one of the vertical test cells, not the tripod, as far as we know. So, so it's not a Raptor 3. Just to be clear, it's a Raptor 2.
That was my fourth one. Like I said, they were in ascending or descending order, more crazy as we get towards the bottom.
They were what you wanted it to be. I wanted it to be
exactly.
a Raptor 3 too. Yeah,
right?
I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Raptor 3, not 3-2.
Huh? Yeah.
But yeah, this is really, 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 really interesting testing from SpaceX going on at McGregor. I love the tripod stand. It's got such a storied history. They used to test Falcon 9 first stages on it. It pre-existed SpaceX at McGregor. It was built by Beale Aerospace, which is the company that owned McGregor before SpaceX did. Like, the tripod is the coolest test stand at McGregor. So I just like to see them do something this crazy with it. Especially, wasn't there like a big RUD on it a couple weeks back, something like that?
Couple months
back. The time is a blur, Sawyer. I've been here since March. Dang,
man.
And time is just a construct, yada, yada, all that stuff. Well, let me look, because I did a short during that and find the date.
It was May. Jay was saying it was May during the UK meetup. It was great. Thank you, Jay. So yeah, the tripod rules. That's really all I was going for with that. Who knows? Let me see if we got some chat questions. EJ, do you got anything from old Twitch? Anybody on Twitch got some wild speculative theories?
It would be like they're saying over there that Nova Raptor over there saying what they did to the Raptor is like pressing Z and X repeatedly in Kerbal over and over and over again. Exactly. I can't tell you, Nova, how bad that is for a rocket engine. I mean, clearly Raptor doesn't care. Clearly it doesn't care, which that like. I can't say for sure, because I don't have data to back it up, but I'm fairly confident if you did that with any other type of fully cryogenic engine, save for maybe like an RL-10, it would result in a gigantic explosion. Like a shuttle engine can't do that, but then again, a shuttle engine's 50 years older tech, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, still good, comparable in spec, Sawyer, which shows you how good that engine actually is, but yeah, it can't do that.
I mean, that was one of the most complex engines ever built.
Yep.
No, don't full screen that. We don't need to do that.
What? Your awesome shirt that's available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com?
Say what? We have a merch store? Cool. Curveless Sphere is asking, what if all those tripod firings were a simulation of a Raptor's lifespan and how many startups it's eventually expected to endure? Could be. Lifespan testing. Who knows? I mean, definitely, like EJ was saying, some kind of stress testing. What exactly they were trying to figure out, your guess is as good as mine. When I was little and, playing with my gigantic bucket of Legos, I had one of those Lego Mindstorms things, little computer and like the motors and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I used to teach those.
Yeah. So cool. My favorite thing to do was not anything actually useful with it. I would make a giant centrifuge, like put a big block of Legos on one side, make a big arm, and then hook a motor up to it and just have it spin like crazy. And then I would like strategically weaken parts of the Lego centrifuge to see like how what kind of failure modes I could get out of it. I don't know. I was a weird kid.
Were you just trying to make a slingshot?
No, I had a wrist rocket for that, and I am legally prohibited from talking about things I did with the wrist rocket. I don't know what the statute of limitations are, but Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder, maybe they were trying to strategically, like they were trying to break something. Like, hey, let's see if we can get the turbine to shatter or something like that. How do we get the turbine to shatter? How do we find its limit? Just fire it over and over and over and over and over and over and over 35, 50 something times. I don't know.
Also, just to talk about the dichotomy of the two of us, how somehow we end up in the same sphere here. I was making the Lego Mindstorms be able to solve a Rubik's Cube, and yours was trying to break things.
Yes, no, that's highly accurate. I literally never did anything intelligent with the Mindstorms. I didn't learn programming. I just used it to make crazy things. I made yeah. You know what? Let's move on.
Someone said you were the original spin launch.
Oh, God. Miss Daisy in chat says the button was just stuck. Like there's a controller at McGregor, like eating a donut, and some crumbs go like get lodged in the button, like when it's get a key on your keyboard stuck, and it's just firing over and over again. They're like, oh God, oh God. I like that. I like that theory.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what's going on at McGregor. We'll keep our eyes on the tripod, and we'll keep our eyes on McGregor Live, and so should you, because who knows? At this point, who knows what they're going to do next? Although something tells me we won't see a test like this for a long time. Like they probably got the data they needed, and they will use that to inform the construction of Raptors, and maybe sometime in the next 2-3 years we see something like this again, but maybe not ever
getting
again.
The data
this
they
could be.
Booster's going back down again.
Oh, hey, it's on the move. Nice. It's crazy how high up the tower they basically catch at the top of the tower. It's nuts seeing a booster get that vertical.
The vertication.
Yeah, the very intense vertication. Lawrence is asking, how much data would a recovered booster 11 provide now that they have a whole booster 12? I mean, we'll tell you about what happens when a booster hits the water, right? Maybe what happens when you quench a hot Raptor engine with cold seawater?
I mean, so in any spaceflight endeavor, anything that's flown is valuable. Any hardware that's flown is extremely valuable. That is worth its weight in gold. Even if it's at the bottom of the ocean, you're really going to want to go and get that if you can, if it's not beyond your reach. And it's clear that nothing is beyond the Haas Ridgewind's reach right now, because I mean they are plucking stuff out of relatively shallow water compared to where a booster would come down. Like, okay, let's take like Jeff Bezos finding those F1 engines from Apollo 11. Those were a little bit deeper. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, weren't those at like 10,000 feet or something utterly insane?
They were off the Atlantic Ridge. They're way down there. Like, so it is cool that they're getting it, and even you got to think about it. Like they started getting parts. They started going and getting stuff from Booster 11 before 12 flew, before Flight 5. So they had that stuff back before the thing flew. Right. And what position would you be in right now if the booster didn't land, if Booster 12 didn't land? No harm, no foul, nothing gained, right? You would those engines would be more vital than they are. It's kind of, I don't think necessarily that they would need it, but once again, anything that's flown is invaluable. That's invaluable hardware because you get to see what you get to get your hands on it, right? That's really, really important to understand. Getting your hands back on the hardware it makes it a lot easier to understand and confirm that confirm that your telemetry that you saw during the flight was good, and B, you actually get to see the thing. Like, pretty sure we could tell the Raptor engines got a little warm because some of the nozzles were warped. Would we have figured that out? Would we have known that as viewers if, with just Flight 4's landing? Because it definitely did happen there too, right?
Right.
Even for us as viewers, seeing this flight proven stuff is super important. But for SpaceX, it's very important for data corroboration. That's a super big deal. Yeah, big time.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's do a couple more questions and then move on because we've got a lot more to talk about. We still got to talk about New Shepard. We still got to talk about Zuki 2, and we also got to talk about Elon and Starship
And Diablo.
and Diablo. Surprisingly,
I mean, I was always more of a StarCraft fan.
you know,
You want a piece of me, boy?
in the 5x5.
In the pipe?
Is it in the pipe? I thought it was in the 5. I haven't played that game in like 20 years. EJ, I really don't like disappointing you. I'm so sorry. I blew it. I blew it, man.
Adrian says Diablo's better than StarCraft. You are out of your mind.
He also says Warcraft is better than Diablo, so we know he's objectively wrong. Everybody knows it's StarCraft, Diablo, Warcraft, whatever other stupid games they make.
I promise we'll get to Starship this century before Flight 7. We'll start talking about this.
We will.
And yes, I said Flight 7, not Flight 6.
Let's see. Oh, I had a question. Where did it go?
Yes, that's where.
Where did it go? All right, you know what? It's gone forever. Let's move on. Sorry. Cool. Let's talk about New Sheppy.
I'm sorry,
Sawyer,
what?
What's going on with New Sheppy?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But if we're talking about New Shepard, we have stuff to talk about.
Lay it on us, Kemosabe.
So yes, we finally had a launch once again of New Shepard. It has been a while, and not only did we have a launch, we had the launch of a new vehicle. Took off on October 23rd, flying a new booster and a new capsule in, apologies, one of the worst live streams I've ever seen, but that's a whole nother story.
I mean, come on. We are in the business of live streaming rocket launches. We're allowed to be.
This great slideshow.
I'll just put it this way: if this was our stream, yeah, not acceptable.
Kevin and Jay
Anyways,
would be screaming, and
I've
half of
unmuted.
us would be out of a job.
I don't know if I'm unmuted on the stream, but
you're not even supposed to be here today.
well, I'm operating Starbase views right now. But if I did that stream, I would have been fired. I would not be operating streams anymore. That was not good.
Yeah, I mean, speaking as a person who's frequently out in the middle of New Mexico or West Texas to stream these things, like with the camera and the pack, I would be furious. I'd be like, I drove all the way out here to bring live views to everyone around the world, and this
and Kevin
is
messed it up.
Yeah.
I would never live that.
Yeah, well, it happens. I don't want to clown on him too hard, but yeah, it was unfortunate because it's a beautiful new Shepard. It's a brand new Shepard and a brand new capsule with a brand new livery.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the new paint scheme on it personally. It's just I don't know, it's sleek. I like it. So it didn't have people on it. This one was just 12 payloads on the first flight, 5 on the booster, and 7 on the capsule. So a lot of stuff that they're actually testing out, even for New Glenn, on this. There was also some stuff for NASA. There were things that were LiDAR based. So a lot of good science out of it, and hopefully we'll start seeing them launch humans again. And of course, as they like to point out, the apogee passing the Kármán line, hitting an apogee of 102 kilometers up. And then
what's a kilometer?
I don't know. Again, we did the banana conversion at some point. I'd have to check that again. And that's based off the sea level there. And you can see that the booster then also came back to land safely in the deserts of West Texas. So
good deal.
Yeah, a great flight for a new Shepard.
And a new capsule, which I believe they named the Kármán line, which is pretty nifty.
Well, then you're in the Kármán line to go over the Kármán line?
Right. All right. Also, we're talking about New Sheppy. I gotta talk about the imagery that we got out of this launch, thanks to none other than a Mr. John Kraus. I have dreamed of setting remotes at Corn Ranch. I have dreamed of doing such a thing. Never got to yet, but John Kraus did, I believe, for Blue Origin, and we got some spectacular imagery out of it. So props to John Krause. Thank you to him for doing what he does, making spaceflight art. And props to Blue Origin for hiring him, I assume, for making this imagery. It's just absolutely gorgeous stuff.
Well, that was the shots of the props that mixed together to create the engine.
Sawyer.
Yes, Jack.
Why are you the way you are?
I don't know, and I hate it too.
No,
He admitted it.
We love you.
He admitted it.
Ironically, that would be my answer to that question.
But
cool.
yeah.
So, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to transition to the other half of the topic, unless you want to stick on this.
Back to you,
for a
Andy.
bit.
Back to you, Ollie. Back to you, Andy. Back to you, Ollie.
No, what is that? Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Anyway,
I freaking
back to
love
you,
Bob's
Andy.
Burgers. I feel like that's my like Tina's like general anxiety state is like my entire Anyways, Sawyer, please continue. What's the second half of the topic?
As we move on from that slideshow, we've sorry, I rag on it. I'm sure they work hard on it. Apologies to the team there. They'll do better. I know they'll do better for the next one.
I'm sure they're furious too. Like nobody wants that to happen. So yeah, they'll do better on the next one, surely. But anyways, please continue.
Anyway, so yeah, as I mentioned, there was some hardware on there, even testing for new Glenn. Glenny? Nope, new Glenn. New Glenn.
I have successfully poisoned your mind.
Yes, and that was that we finally see all 7 BE-4 engines attached to what will hopefully be the first flight particle there. And 3 of those 7 will gimbal to help steer the vehicle as it flies, but we're finally seeing the engines on board. The goal was to fly this for the Escapade mission. Obviously, it's not going to be carrying that anymore, and they were still hoping to be able to fly by November, which seems unlikely, but still potentially in the cards. So we'll see. Hopefully it flies by the end of the year, but having the engines finally mounted is a huge step forward.
Such a beautiful engine section. It looks really clean, too. Like, they clearly have everything all nice and buttoned up. Probably bodes well for reusability. So, yeah, I cannot wait to see new Glenny fly.
But yeah, talk about a tight squeeze in there. It really is amazing how they're able to maximize the engine space in there, it seems like.
Right? Gosh, oh man. I hope it's this year. I really do. But I'm sort of going with Berger's Law and assuming that it's going to be 2025, but hopefully early 2025. But we'll see how it goes.
That would be nice, yeah. I mean, I'm excited for New Glenn because it is a pretty decently monster-sized vehicle. I would say probably one of the few comparable vehicles to when Starship launches from the Cape in terms of this is a big boy.
Right. If only
right
we
now,
had somebody
best
here
comparable to SLS.
If only we had somebody here ready to join the stream that was like really into New Glenny, and could speak to how exciting it's going to be when this thing lifts off. I don't think we have them yet, but if only we did.
No. Well, I know you just want to keep saying New Glenny to make them upset, though, when they come on.
Yeah, Glenny. Yeah, that's what the rocket's called. Everyone knows that.
In honor of Glenn Lunny, right? The mission controller.
LCTA Bus Rider is asking, could Blue Origin add a second stage to New Shepard? Fun fact, New Shepard is, in a lot of ways, kind of the second stage for Glenny. If I remember correctly from last time I was there and they did like a presser.
All right, stop calling it that, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. So New Glenn is okay, but I can't say Glenny?
New Glenn's is fine.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Just
use your New Glenn and you'll figure out why.
Glenny, yeah, exactly. Glenny is just jarring, dude.
It's got a ring to it. It's got a ring to it.
No, it does not. It has the opposite of that.
There's no ring on Blue Origin's New Glenny. Come on.
New Glenny. Yeah. I'm sorry. I know I'm not.
Seriously, dude, nails on a chalkboard. You know?
Okay, wait. Do we have Adrian? Adrian, what do you think of Glenny? You like Glenny, right?
No, absolutely not. I was supposed to join later here, but I got so furious about you calling it Glenny that I have to jump in here now to tell you it's not New Glenny. What are we doing here? What? Why? Why? No.
Are you excited for Glenny's first launch, Adrian?
Yeah. Sorry, I know I'm peeking there, but I was literally screaming into my microphone because I was that furious. It's not New Glenny. It's not.
All right, okay, compromise. How about just Glenny?
If you call it Glenny, I will call it Hoppy forever.
You already do. Everyone already does. That's the whole point. How come Hoppy's okay, but Glenny's not?
Because Hoppy is this size, and New Glenn is this size. Hoppy is like a cute version of a thing. The name is indicating it's a cute version of Starship, but New Glenn is the big thing.
Okay. All right.
Right, it's the larger version of New Sheppy.
Yeah, Sheppy. Yeah. Look at his face. Oh my god. All right, we should be serious. Okay. Serious face.
Yeah.
Serious face.
Yeah.
Adrian, do you have any thoughts on this new Shepherd before we move on to the topic that we are bringing you in for?
It looks absolutely stunning. I'm glad they're moving the program forward because I thought in the past, I always had like, I hope they really go forward with this because I always feared like that they just at some point stop launching and never talk about New Shepard ever again. Like that was always my low fear. But them investing into the program and moving New Shepard forward and apparently changing the design shows to me that they have a commitment to this program, and that's good. That's cool. I like New Shepard. I know a lot of people hate on it. I like New Shepard. It's a cool thing to see it fly.
It's a super cool rocket. I have to say, having seen it fly multiple times in person, it's a really beautiful machine. I just wish it wasn't so tiny. It's so tiny. It's so hard
I'd happily fly on it. Someone buy me a seat.
Oh yeah, I also would as well.
NSF needs to buy out a capsule and just fly the team.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Das is like over here like doing some kind of science experiment for Dr. Holly. EJ's over in the corner on Twitch somehow. I'm just like I'm like on the floor just like Ralphing into a barf bag.
Oh god.
No, I'm kidding. I don't get motion sick. It's
and I'm just floating around, just bumping into everyone.
Yeah, Sawyer's for some reason also making puns while flying on New Shepard. Like
you know I would. There's cameras and audio on board. I absolutely would.
We all start playing what is that game? Light as a feather, stiff as a board, like at Apogee with Sawyer.
You know I'd be, if you're over there with the air sickness bag, or space sickness bag, we'll say, you know I'd be calling it, what is it? Instead of the, I had a joke and it just left my head. Dang it.
You blew it. You blew it.
Instead of the overview effect, it would be the overspew effect.
Wow. Wow, Sawyer. That was all right. You've redeemed yourself. I rescind your blew it. You have successfully made a good joke. EJ, I'm sorry.
I blew it. It's Blue Origin, of course.
And you blew it again. EJ, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at your face during the show, and I feel like I'm causing you psychic damage, just like relentlessly. Like I'm rolling 20s over here. So
Wait,
I apologize.
Damage?
Yes, it's a thing.
I have a, by chance I have a D20 somewhere here, so we can roll it.
Okay, wait. Roll it. If it's between 1 and 10, it's Glenny officially. If it's between 11 and 20, I will never call it.
4.
I will. Yes, let's go! Let's go! It's Glenny, baby! It's Glenny! Oh, you can't. It's the dice. Adrian, you're a dungeon master. You know the dice don't lie. So it's Glenny. I'm sorry, dude.
No. You know what the thing is though in D&D. The dungeon master is always right. So if the dungeon master says it's not New Glenny, it's not New Glenny.
Dang. That's infallible logic. All right, well, let's keep on rolling. And I'm sorry if I just
infallible China.
Let's keep on rolling. And I'm sorry if I just blew out everybody's ears, but yeah. Adrian, what's going on with China and Zuki 2? If I'm even pronouncing that properly, I'm probably not.
I'm super. I'm always super excited to quickly give an update on certain China news when I'm here. So I took the opportunity today to write it into show notes because they have not taken the ability away from me yet to write these show notes. So yeah, we got some exciting news about Zuki 2. Zuki 2, of course, being the first methane rocket to ever reach orbit, and still since then not really there where they wanted to be yet, and then in terms of payload capabilities, but they are firing their new second stage. Which you can see over there. And they are getting ready to eliminate these pesky vernier thrusters that have been so much of a pain for them with this new TQ-15 engine, which is being tested now. And apparently will be seeing an updated flight and an updated Zuki 2 very soon, because they strive to fly the updated Zuki 2E later this year in winter. What winter exactly means, we'll see. But currently, it's apparently like net November, December. So we will see that very much soon. And that company is very exciting because not only they're working on Zuki 2, they're also working on Zuki 3, which is and yes, I will address the elephant in the room before chat does it. Yes, it very much looks like Falcon 9. They absolutely took a lot of inspiration from Falcon 9. That's what they do. And honestly, sometimes it's not a bad idea to look at the market leader. But yeah, they are working on Zuki 3, which is a way bigger rocket, partially reusable. And that rocket apparently is planned to fly next year. So the race I'm right now tracking, and that's always a fun thing I do. I look at like races that are happening between rocket companies, is which will be the first orbital class rocket that is not from SpaceX actually that will land. And I think Landspace here are certainly in the contest. There we go.
That China's space industry is just popping off. It's crazy how many companies there are out there in China, all pursuing not just orbital rockets, but also like reuse. So pretty neat.
Yeah, I always like these. Like, to be fair, it's also kind of fun to track these because they're as everybody that has ever written articles for NSF can relate to this. It's kind of fun to track things that are not obvious, and it's kind of fun to get into like weird forums and everything to find information. And you have to go to weird Chinese websites and have to use auto translate, and it's fun. It's fun.
Oh. Adrian, don't lie. You just went to the War Thunder forums.
Oh yeah, and then EJ, I did the one thing you have to do. I said I am very sure the rocket is like this, and I claimed I know the truth. So some people would go in there and start to correct me. It's not, you always have to claim you're correct, because then people will correct you. That's the rule of the internet.
No, you're not wrong.
Yep. If you need help with hardware on the internet, you always claim that you know better. People will help you instantly.
That's amazing.
Absolutely true.
That's amazing.
True.
Yep.
And yes,
wise beyond your years, Adrian. I love that in our back channel right now there is like a war going on. People asking different chatbots about Glenny. It's like, wow, very productive.
Brock hates it. ChatGPT loves it.
I love it. Really quickly, it's off topic, but speaking of Glenny, because BCR is asking if Hoppy is called Hoppy because it's a mini Starship, then would Project Jarvis be Glenny? Ooh.
Yes, I'm fine with that. Project Jarvis being Glenny, I'm fine with. EJ is still in pain.
Oh, God. Also, yeah, totally. By the way, as you said, as a writer, I had to write an article about a Russian cosmonaut. VPN and Google Translate got a heck of a workout.
Yep, you're basically just hoping it gets it correct. You're like, you get really funky words in the auto translate, and
the grammar's all wrong.
Yep, and sometimes you're lucky, and Harry Stranger has like a satellite picture of the rocket you need right now, and it's like, oh, Harry has posted a picture of that pad. I can get information from that. Thank you, Harry. By the way, yeah, you're amazing.
Harry's the best. We love you, Harry. A baseball bat a day keeps the spiders away.
Oh, another Chinese rocket actually that I quickly want to update on, because it's the one that is kind of big, as in it's Long March 9. They updated a few things about Long March 9 right now. So for the people who track it, it's Long March 9 changes design a bit with moon phases, basically. If you blink, it's a new rocket.
With moon phases. I see what you did there.
Yeah,
that was
right?
good. That was good.
Thank you. And the design starts to consolidate a bit and gets a bit closer to what it apparently will be. And what we now get more and more is this Metalogs Starship-like new Long March 9, which is being more and more the front runner. And right now, the current design goal is apparently 3,200-ton thrust Metalogs engines on the first stage, with a first flight around 2030, which also would be a bit moving to the left, because initially there was some reports it might slip to 32, 33, and now apparently they're back to 2030. So Long March 9 coming along nicely, it seems, and we also have seen them starting to produce barrels for it and hardware, which were posted a few months ago. So it really seems that rocket is indeed coming along, next to, of course, Long March 10, which is the smaller sibling and more Falcon Heavy class rocket. So their moon plans, the Chinese moon plans, are certainly taking shape lately, it's coming along.
I'm so thankful for Starship. Like,
yes.
I imagine a world where we don't have Falcon 9 or Starship. Like, we would be getting absolutely clowned on right now, especially in the race back to the moon. So, yay. But
I mean, we still are getting clowned on for that, but that's another story.
Well, yeah,
What?
don't get me started. Stupid
What are you talking
Halo
about?
rectilinear, stupid.
What do you mean? What do you mean we're getting clowned on? We sent. What about Artemis 1? What was that?
It was good.
What's Artemis 2? Oh, wait.
I
don't see Long March 9 launching anytime soon.
I'm kind of with EJ also in also complexity of the program, because what Artemis tries to do is, in approach, it's a very complex program, right? It's a very sustainable program. It has a lot of very deep science goals. The initial plans for the Chinese moon exploration are, how did we phrase it in the past? Apollo Plus? Which also sounds like a very weird
sounds like
video on demand service.
Yeah, sounds like a subscription video streaming service where for spaceflight stuff. Actually, that's a pretty good name.
Yeah, it's like, subscribe to Apollo Plus for new moon documentaries this month. But yeah, their plan is a bit less sustainable and less ambitious. Of course, that changes once Long March 9 enters the game. The Long March 10 exploration phase is more like get people somewhere on the moon and get them back. That's kind of the goal with 10. But once 9 enters the picture and you have like a really big workhorse, then the plans start to change. And then there's also the moon base that they have talked about in the past that suddenly enters the picture. But as long as they're still in this 10 phase, I have a hard time comparing the programs, because Artemis just tries to do so much more.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. But either way, it's cool to keep track of what's going on in China, because I think we all like rockets. And, it's not all Falcon 9 and Starship. There's some really cool rockets coming out of China. Speaking of really cool things, Adrian, what are you wearing?
I have the privilege that since I kind of help run the store, I always get to earn a merch first. So what I do, I have our new Christmas merch sweater, and if you, I don't know if you
stand up,
seen them.
Stand up. Also, why is your mic not in your Put your mic. What's going on? Anyways, sweater.
He's got
anyway,
a desk one.
Maybe you remember this mission, and you can get these Christmas sweaters, including this new cool design, on shop.nasaspaceflight.com, and you can see them there. And we also have a cool Starship one, the one on the right side, and that's the coolest thing this year. We have blankets. We also have freaking knitted blankets, and I want to point out, this is really knitted.
Yeah, it's not like a pattern on a cruddy,
do you see this?
Long sleeve t-shirt kind of thing. No, this is like an actual knitted sweater. So if you need a fancy sweater for an office party or a friend gathering or to stay warm, or if you need a blankie, I need to get one of the blankies. That's what I want to get this year.
It's so good.
Yeah, so check it out. We also have the last year's designs as well. So pick your poison and
the beanies
and enjoy. Oh yeah, and the beanies.
Two notes here. we are reaching a point where we have 2 or 3 more weeks until you will not receive your order before Christmas anymore because there's lead times on this. So if you want to order one of these, please order it in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Otherwise, you will reach a cutoff where it will be hard to reach Christmas. And also, and I say this for Chris Bergen, please check your address before submitting the order. Please. We have gotten so many orders lately of people just messing up the address.
Chris watches our streams on YouTube. So Chris is frequently like a minute 30 delayed because sometimes YouTube will buffer and you don't even realize that you're behind. And I know that because he'll frequently comment things in our back channel like 90 or so seconds after we've talked about it on stream. And as you were saying the thing about the correct address, he said, "And put the correct address in all caps."
Yep. Please. You save us so much trouble if you put your correct address in.
You have no idea how common it actually is.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, good deal.
By the way, Adrian's not lying about the date. I ordered the day after the deadline last year, and guess what? My sweaters came the day after Christmas.
No.
We really work with this company that do these and like communicate with them like, hey, what's the last date you can give us? We want to give them as much potential heads up time as we can. What's the last day you can give us? And yeah, it's a thing.
Thanks for that. And thanks to the whole store team. Thanks to Pauline for making sick designs. All right, well, Adrian, I think that'll wrap us up for Zuki 2.
Yes.
I mean, you can hang out if you want, or not. It's your call. But we're going to move on and talk about Starship.
What Starship? Can you explain that rocket to me?
It's like, okay, so...
I saw my favorite Diablo streamer talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, we should... It looks like Booster 13 is getting put back on a transport stand. Interesting. But yeah, let's talk about the leaked internal SpaceX meeting audio that we got because Elon was in a meeting while playing Diablo. What? Do we have audio of that we can play? I'm asking out loud to Jay.
We do. It's been placed in the dock.
All right, let's just. I think step one is we listen to some of the audio, and then let's discuss. Let's pick apart what we're able to discern here. So step one, let's give it a listen.
Roll it.
Roll 212. I cannot hear it.
I think we cannot hear it right now, but it will be fixed.
Yeah, chat's saying 0 by 0.
Be really upfront about the scary that happened and what we're doing about it, because I think that's our focus getting to Flight 6. Like, as Mark talked about, really trying to focus on booster risk reduction versus ship envelope expansion. So, kind of in chronological order on the landing burn, we had a misconfigured spin gas support that didn't have quite the right ramp up time for bringing up spin pressure. And we were 1 second away from that tripping and telling the rocket to abort and try to crash into the ground next to the tower instead of the tower.
All right, stop right there.
I'll tell it erroneous.
Okay.
I thought we were going to listen to the whole thing first.
No, I want to go piece by piece. I changed my mind. Okay. So they had a misconfigured spin gas support that didn't ramp up properly, and they were 1 second away from the booster aborting and trying to land into the ground, crash into the ground next to the tower. So that tells us they were targeting the ground next to the tower, or they had the ability to target the ground next to the tower. And also, AJ, any idea what a spin gas support is? Is that like a turbo pump thing? Or?
I'm actually going to ask you to play that part again. Can I just hear it one more time? And because I got some of it, but I'd like to hear it again just to be sure.
All right,
stand by. On this.
Stand by. Here we go.
Kind of in chronological order on the landing burn, we had a misconfigured spin gas aboard that didn't have quite the right ramp-up time for bringing up spin pressure. And we were 1 second away from that tripping and telling the rocket to abort and try to crash into the ground next to the tower instead of the tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
The applause. Okay, yeah. EJ, thoughts?
Okay, so they said they had a misconfiguration in their ramp-up time for spin pressure. So Raptor is a pneumatic starting mechanism. So that's not anything new. So what does that mean? Basically, they use compressed gas to start spinning what's called the pre-burners on Raptor. It works pretty much similar to if you have like a keyboard cleaner and you take it and you spray it against a fan, it'll start moving it, right? So they said their ramp up to create the proper spin pressure during startup wasn't right. So there's probably some type of pressure regulator in there or valve or something that is going to give them the commanded pneumatic pressure that they need to get those Raptors to start. Because if you don't get your turbine machinery, you don't get the the pre-burners spinning. Sorry, my voice is going, guys.
No worries.
If you don't get the pre-burners spinning to the right RPM, once you turn the whole engine on, you can get a proper mixture. You can get a hard start scenario, which is why they would have aborted. Because if you get a hard start, a hard start is a nice way of saying the thing blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard starts introduce detonation into the combustion chamber. It's like the equivalent of rod knock in a car. Really bad for it. But since rocket engines are moving a lot more energy, a lot faster, that rod knock very quickly becomes a problem really, really fast. So that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. I mean, it sounds like ridiculous. Oh, they were 1 second away from it boarding. It landed. First of all, landed. So
yeah, and 1 second in rocket time is like
a lot.
It's a long time, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
right.
it
given all
is
the
a long
micro
time.
calculations.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a pretty long period of time. But once again, you saw how quickly they can turn Raptor engines on and off. Wait a minute.
He's
cooking.
That's
why they did.
He's cooking.
Do you think that's why they did those tests at McGregor? To make sure that they're commanding the right type of spin pressure during restarts?
Maybe trying different spin pressures to find what their margin exactly is so that they can bound the aborts coded into the software appropriately by like hard data knowing, no, that pressure's okay. We tested it. Maybe. I like it, EJ. I like it a lot. All right.
Ooh.
Let's listen to the next chunk.
Healthy rocket. Erroneously tell a healthy rocket to not try to catch. And we knew we had a whole bunch of new aborts and commit criteria that we tried to double check really well, but I think our concern was well placed, and one of these came very close to biting us.
This was one of the reasons we were thinking about delaying the launch.
Right. If we delay 1 day, we would go check things some more.
Not saying we would have found.
I don't know if we would have found this one, but just
We were scared about it for launch, I think. That's the takeaway.
Well, we were scared about the fact that we had 100 aborts that were not super trivial, but ultra well grounded, and we didn't do as good of a review as we did for pre-flight 1 liftoff, when we were in a similar risk posture. We've spent a lot of time as a leadership team going through every last detail, really arguing it multiple times.
It's really nice to have the flight data now. We had a review yesterday, everybody going through the 100 aborts versus flight data and what we need to change on them, but just to ground your mental model and where we were.
This is also the reason, this is what is driving fundamentally the Flight 6 schedule. We're we're not taking as much time as we might ideally want to have a very luxurious, really study everything, but given this is the first launch in a long time that we've not, really ever, that we've not been FAA driven, so we are trying to go do a reasonable balance of speed and risk mitigation on the booster specifically.
All right. Stop right there.
Right at trans.
Okay. That was a lot to unpack. So, if I'm reading this this quickly transcribed transcript and hearing all that properly, they had like 100 aborts that were not super trivial, but cultural ground data that they did not review. They did not do as good of a review as they would have liked. Cultural ground data. EJ, I'm thinking about McGregor again. That's interesting. And then
Go
ahead.
Cultural ground data could be anything, dude. It could be
fair.
what's going on at McGregor. It could be computer simulations. It could be computer simulations. Could be ground testing. That could be anything.
Got it. And then the thing I really wanted to highlight is that line about this review of these aborts that they've added because of catching a booster is what is driving the Flight 6 schedule. Those are words said in the audio. This is what's driving fundamentally the Flight 6 schedule. So there you have it. They also said it's not FAA driven because, as we know, when the license for Flight 5 dropped, they also sort of have said the proposed changes that SpaceX wanted to make for Flight 6 fell within the scope of the license for Flight 5. So they are not FAA constrained, which we knew, but it's interesting to hear them say. So because they're not FAA constrained, they want to launch again very quickly, but they also want to be safe and go back and do a thorough review of all of these new aborts that they've added. Am I hearing that, reading that correctly?
The exact quote, just for reference for all of this, said, you talked about driving fundamentally. Given this is the first launch in a long time that we've not, well, really ever, that we've not been FAA driven, we are trying to do a reasonable balance of speed and risk mitigation on the booster specifically.
Got it.
So I think that's really interesting there again, they are driving their own schedule at this point. And they want to go fast, and we've seen that. I mean, the fact that they static fired less than 2 weeks after they caught a booster, which they caught a booster, by the way. But that risk mitigation now, especially hearing that and what we're about to hear in the next section, really makes you wonder how much risk there still is for this upcoming flight.
Right. All right. Holy cow. This is cool. This is the kind of thing that I wish we had more visibility into. Like, we got this because Elon had it on while streaming Diablo. So hooray. But this is the sort of discussion that we all know happens frequently or every day. Like, these are the meetings at SpaceX where they figure out the hard problems and solve the hard problems.
And is it worth noting that this was a clip from him playing that he posted on his X account. So it's not like he accidentally had it on while live streaming that we know of. This was a video that was publicly posted on his X account, which is why we are playing the audio.
He also started to react to some of the comments below it, so I bet you he knows. It's not like we are like analyzing something he doesn't want to be out of the public. I think he just was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Just want to make that clear, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those oops, I didn't mean to kind of things. But yeah. Also, we did have a question here from Konjak asking, any comment on Joe Petzrizelka, director of Starship Launch Engineering, giving Elon a debrief of booster landing during his gaming stream? Again, not a stream. But yeah, I think that's who it is. I think it's Joe Petzrizelka, director of Starship Launch Engineering. I think that's who we are hearing. Does anyone want to hit anything on this chunk specifically before we listen to the next chunk?
Yes.
Go.
All right, guys, they're talking. I'm looking. I have the transcripts up in front of me now. So it very much seems like this is talking about where they need to go to kind of dial in the parameters for the booster. So they were talking about, let me pull it up. they were talking about the spin pressure. They were talking about the ramp up. They were talking about studying everything, right?
Right.
Basically, so SpaceX uses a type of testing regime called rapid iterative. Basically, where you kind of make sure there's still a lot of unknown unknowns. You carry more risk with this way of doing it, like trying to just catch the booster on the 5th flight. Like, all right, let's go, right? But see, now that they have that flight data, they can, and this is why I was talking about this a little bit earlier. Flight data is key. This is why it's key. You're hearing exactly why this data is good. You would have the telemetry, right, to tell you about the spin pressures and stuff. That's probably how they saw it. You're not going to get that from a hardware inspection as far as I can tell, right? But you have the booster there to corroborate all the telemetry that you saw. And it looks like, based off of this successful landing, that they're looking into try and dial in parameters for the booster. Now, every rocket, when you fly it for the first time, is going to have conservative parameters, right? With temperature deltas, pressure deltas,
timings.
Timing, exactly. You're going to have conservative parameters. But when you use rapid, so you kind of want to be sure, like if the rocket even goes a little bit off course, you want it to correct or whatnot, right? But when you're using iterative testing like this, you keep them wide open. And this seems like honestly, this is just showing SpaceX's iterative process thus far. Like their parameters were very wide, and one of them almost bit them and didn't almost land the rocket. So obviously, because they weren't inside of the margins that they really wanted with getting that spin pressure regulation right, now they're going to work on that. Now they're going to dial it in, right? Which, once again, I'm pretty dang sure that's why they pulse tested that Raptor engine to get it right. But I don't know. That was the brainwave that I had a second ago. But yeah, you're seeing them dialing in the parameters so they can make sure that it's more accurate, put margin in the, could be pressure regulation, could be temperatures, could be pressures, whatever,
right,
in certain parts of the booster to ensure that thing comes back every time. You're seeing them dial it in, which is actually, this is super interesting.
All right, let's listen to the next chunk. And again, this is an internal SpaceX meeting that was playing in the background while Elon played Diablo, and then he posted a video on X, the Everything app, of himself playing Diablo where we could hear this audio. So it's just
posted around 5 p.m. Eastern, so about an hour 45 minutes ago, and still is public.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
there's a comment below it of like, did you just post Starship data? And he was like, yeah. So
he knows. I'm sure he knew like before doing it, and if he didn't, he knew very soon after doing it. A lot of times
this
when
next
there's
part is really interesting.
No, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. A lot of times when there's like a leaked thing, we're not trying to show things that are leaked or proprietary data or anything like that. But this was a public post on X, so and it's still there. So I think we're in the green to talk about this stuff. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't. But let's hear the next chunk.
Jack, real quick, dude.
No, please,
real
go.
Quick. The second part of that is that, they were saying, let's, really study everything. We're not constricted by the FAA. They want to make sure that they're not just, because up until this point, it's like go fast, go fast, go fast, go fast, go fast. And the FAA is going to be, we're not going to be able to launch. So just get everything done, do it as quick as possible.
Right.
They want to make sure that they dial in those parameters and they're not just, throwing paint at the wall with this. So, it's not about going as fast as you can right now because the FAA isn't your bottleneck anymore. Right. You have the license in this particular scenario.
Right.
So they're talking about making sure that data gets reviewed, make sure it gets, your next data constraints for your telemetry, for your rocket, your avionics, your GNC, all that stuff. Make sure that you take your time to assess the data from this successful flight so we can make more flights successful in the future.
Right. Make sure that that first catch wasn't a fluke, but is something that is effortlessly repeatable over and over and over again. And
exactly.
That's why this sort of information in this conversation is so fascinating, because we know these conversations happen. We know these meetings happen. There's a lot of smart people at SpaceX working their tails off on this stuff. So to get just a little bit of insight into that sort of discussion is it's invaluable. It's amazing. And so again, this data review of these aborts is what is driving the schedule for Flight 6. I think that bears repeating. But yeah, let's listen to this next part, because you're right, Sawyer. This next part is super interesting.
Okay. We had right at Transonic, which is like just before engines start up, one of the chine covers ripped off, which is something we were worried about these spot weld margins on chine skin before flight. We wouldn't have predicted the exact right place, but this cover that ripped off was right on top of a bunch of the like single point failure valves that like must work during the landing burn. So thankfully none of those or the harnessing got damaged, but we ripped this chine cover off over some really critical equipment right as landing burn was starting. We have a plan to address that. There are a bunch of, like, it seems like the plume during landing burn kind of coming back.
Yeah. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I mean, basically what they're saying, like, we kind of knew that chime cover might come off. There was a bunch of critical...
Yeah, we didn't know if it was going to come off right there, but turns out that specific cover had a bunch of single point failure valves underneath it. Thank goodness they worked.
That's the important thing there, the single point failure. It's not like there's a backup or anything. If that were to have ripped through, that was a bad day for Starship. I mean, it's kind of weird to think of a rocket this complex to have that, but I guess that's what the chine covers are meant to be for. I don't know your thoughts on it, but it's very interesting to me.
It's certainly a situation where when we always say there has to be, like, I know we said it a lot in the broadcast leading up to this, everything has to go right for them to catch this thing. And this kind of comment makes you understand why, for example, we always also wanted to point that out and why SpaceX was so careful wording it. Because they had single point failures apparently all over the place here, covered up with a chine that they knew that might not work, and we're like,
send it.
Let's see.
But yeah, it's an easy fix. Just weld it better. And they clearly they knew about it. They said they knew about it, and they have a plan to address it. So yeah, I think that's basically the audio from. Oh, it's Jake. Who's your Jake buddy? Who's your buddy?
I just want to know what keyboard Musk uses. Because when I play Diablo, I kind of smash the keyboard. You can hear it like probably 2 roads down. And he had apparently his microphone recording, and also had like, it sounded like he has like the meeting just loud while he was playing Diablo. And you don't hear a keyboard. So I want to know what is he doing? It's crazy.
Of course, that's your thought on it.
Yeah, that was my initial impression, but I have an obsession with mechanical keyboards.
So, we know what's driving Flight 6's schedule. We know that the landing burn, or the plume from the landing burn, potentially is what caused that issue with the chine. We know that could have gone way bad and was not just like, oh, it's a little scratch. Like, no, that could have been bad, but easy fix. And we know that they were a second away from telling the booster to abort and to pile drive into the ground next to the mount there. So, holy cow!
That was after the chine had come off.
Right. Yeah, good point. Well, yeah, that's the bulk of the audio there from it's not a leak from that post from Elon.
Post.
Yeah. We generally don't do leaks here. Like, we'll talk about things, we'll speculate, but yeah, that was pretty.
Hydrogen, though, we do some leaks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, X the Oopsie app.
Hey, Sawyer.
Yeah.
Ground umbilical carrier plate.
No. Jake, help me. Protect me, Jake. Protect me from the evil man.
JS Webb is asking, do you think they'll reinforce the chine covers? I mean, do we think they even need to be reinforced or just welded better? They said there was spot welds. Maybe just do some more spot welds. I don't know anything about welding. EJ?
Stainless is hard to weld. It's hard to spot weld because it's hard. Like the metal's actually hard. It is a difficult task. The metal is it's tough. Stainless steel's hard to work.
Even the specific type of steel they're using, if I'm not mistaken, is 304 high hardness. Like, it's stainless steel is already hard. and they're using a specifically hardened version of the stainless steel, which is nuts.
The other thing is that it's really easy to get a lot of heat in stainless steel, so thermal controls on your weld are very, very important there. You can't, i.e. you can't you can MIG weld stainless, but tip and TIG welding, low heat welding applications are generally what you use for stainless. If you use like a MIG welder, you can introduce too much heat, you can warp it, if you don't, and I mean, under proper purging conditions, the stainless steel can actually crystallize depending on what type of stainless steel you're using. I mean, Jack, I was just going back to, I was deep in thought about this. I was just thinking, like, I see a lot of people saying, like, well, single fault redundancy is bad. Single fault redundancy is bad. Okay, so first of all, what do those valves do in the chines? We were talking about pneumatic spin start on Raptors in the first part of the conversation, right? The chines on Super Heavy have COPVs in them. They're composite overwrap pressure vessels. They're basically like a very fancy propane tank that's
Think of a scuba tank.
Wrapped in carbon fiber.
It's a metal tank with, the tripod's firing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah. There you go. I see it. Come on. Start and stop. Let's go.
Yeah.
Start and stop. Start and stop.
Do it again.
Come on. Do it again. No. If you have two types of COPVs that are carrying two different commodities in those chines. You have one that's for the CO2 suppression system, which you saw work and kind of snuff out the flames right when the booster was caught. They caught a booster, by the way.
They caught a booster?
They did. And then you have the other one, which is the nitrogen that's used to spin start the Raptors. Now, once again, guys, like, I know everybody hears single fault redundant and goes, oh. I mean, guys, a doorknob is single fault redundant. Does that make it a bad design?
Nope.
I mean, part of engineering is figuring out where you need to have single and double fault redundancy. I mean, look at James Webb, 350 more faults to go, right? Like, that, a lot of those were single redundant folding systems, meaning that it's something, sometimes two fault redundancy is not warranted. Now, there are other engineering applications where it is, but your job as an engineer is to figure out where you need that margin. And that's what they're talking about in the first part of this conversation. It's important to understand.
I'm sorry.
Just because
I'm entranced by the Raptor firing right now. It looks like they're doing a bunch of different throttle settings. You can see the audio waveform down there at the bottom, which kind of gives you an indication of I mean, it's rough. It's audio. It's not a one-to-one thing, but it can sort of give you a little bit of an indication of what's going on with throttle settings. But yeah, you're going to have some single point failure stuff. Like, engineering is all about trade-offs, and it's unavoidable, and you have to pick which.
It's not necessarily a trade-off, right? Like, I mean, I know what you're saying, but it's not necessarily a trade-off. Some things just don't need to be single fault redundant. Like, your car has one engine in it. That's single fault redundant.
Right.
Does that mean it needs two engines? No.
Okay, wait.
No.
The Raptor stopped, but the deluge is still going. Are they going to relight this puppy?
It. Come on, send it.
Do it again.
Send it.
Do it again. Do it again.
Do it.
Do the thing.
Sorry, Adrian, were you about to say something?
No, I'm just saying do it.
Do it.
The flame trench. He said the thing.
The water's still
on.
He
said the thing.
Come on, SpaceX.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I bet you won't.
Howard, if you don't do it.
Come on, do something.
Are they just letting the deluge run?
Whee! I wonder if they have like a water tank or if it's just connected up to like the water main there in McGregor, Texas. Like, at what point do they run out of water?
Yes.
When their water tank is empty.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't remember if they're hooked up to the main lines there. I've been there. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
It's like everybody in McGregor, if they're taking a shower. Oh, boo. It went off.
Boo.
Boo.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Boo. Still, super cool tripod firing, and we'll keep our eyes on McGregor Live to see if they fire that thing back up again. But I don't know. What do we want to talk about Starship wise? We can go down the list of recent events.
Booster 13. Like it's kind of crazy. Like we are talking about Starship. Should we address the fact that they have static fired the next booster for the next flight, like a week and a half after flight?
Yeah,
or 2 weeks after flight.
No, it's insane. It's crazy insane. And not only that, but we know based on that audio from that post that they're not hardware readiness constrained. They are constrained by internal reviews. It's not about, oh, they need time to refurbish the mount, or, oh, they got to do some work on the chops. They're like, no, they are legitimately ready to go, especially with yesterday's static fire test, wrapping up the individual vehicle portions testing. So the ship's been static fired, the booster's been static fired. All they got to do now is stack it, do a mini wet dress, and they're good to go. But they got some data to review first. But yeah, it's crazy, Adrian, right? Like with previous flights, we've seen like a month plus before a booster even gets back on the mount. And in this case, it was like 12 days or like some insanely short number of days. It's
that pad was just ready. Like they inspected it, they looked at it, and were like, "Yep, I guess we are fine." They put the guiding pins back in, and they're like, "Okay, let's put a booster on this. Let's static fire it." And the crazy thing is, they are nearing hardware readiness for the next flight. Like they have the booster static fired.
Right.
The ship's apparently basically ready.
Right.
They need to put a hot stage ring on a booster. I guess that will be part of like the whole checkout, maybe now at the back at the production site. Maybe perform like a partial full stack tanking test. Honestly, if somebody told me right now they are ready in 2 weeks, I would be like, yeah. I mean, that's not crazy. To say right now, I don't know, the Starship could fly again, let's go 2 weeks, I don't know, the 9th or the 16th of November. That's
11th.
Yeah.
11/11. Let's go. I said that last flame
Can't
trench.
they-
Everybody called me nuts.
Can't they literally not do 11/11 because it's a holiday and they can't close the road and beach on a holiday?
Yeah, it's Veterans Day.
Oh
right?
no.
Sorry, EJ.
Well, there goes my theory.
Can
But I
somebody
did say
go-
November.
Actually, I know there's some people looking at it. Is Veterans Day one of the exempted days in the road closures?
I don't think
I don't think it is.
Because there is certain days that they cannot close the road, and I'm not sure if Veterans Day is a listed day on that. So
that's a good question.
Don't think it's an exemption.
So if it's not an
Should
exemption, I mean, it's harsh to like do it on a holiday, but it's not like SpaceX launches Falcon 9s on holidays just fine.
Correction,
Yeah.
it is. They cannot close the road on Veterans Day.
Yeah. So anyone saying 11/11, I love you, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, it's over. No Highway 4 access restriction on the following days, and Veterans Day is one of them. So the dream is over. 11/11 cannot be the day.
Maybe 11/9 or 11/13 or I mean I am guessing sometime in the first half of November. That would be my current guess. It seems like they are seriously hauling the mail with this program at this point. And it's exciting, right? Because you can look at this turnaround time between 5 and 6 and immediately start to think about, oh crap, what is 2025 going to be like? Or 2026 or 2027? Like this is the beginning of the sprint, which is very exciting.
I'm just ready for Cape Starship, just saying.
Cape Starship's going to slap. I think we're all super excited for Cape Starship. I can spend a bunch of time in Florida instead of Texas. How cool would that be?
Join us, Jack. Join
One of us. One of us.
One of us. One.
But yeah, here's some video of the static fire there. Looked like a really good one, and the first one that at least I can remember that we've gotten from a booster at dusk, which
I love.
What a treat!
I love the banks. I love the banks that you can see always the banks spooling up because they're not firing all 33 at once.
Yeah,
Tell us
what you mean by that.
Yeah, if you go back to the beginning of this clip, you can see how you have an initial flash, and then you have a second flash. That's a second of banks spooling up of Raptors. So that's the initial set now coming up. Look at that. There.
There's one.
And now watch for the flash.
2, 3.
Woof.
It's like 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah. That's the second set of that's the next set of Raptor bang. Like there's different set of Raptors that ignite in a stage ignition because that's how they perform this setup to not completely obliterate their thrust section every time they ignite this thing. So they ignite it in like a very staged ignition, and you can always see in the static fires, especially in darker conditions, how there's like a second flash when they go to that. It's always cool to see.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, it seems like they're really closing in on hardware readiness for 6. Obviously, they still have some work to do on 31's heat shield, but holy cow. I mean, from that audio, from the post from Elon on X, that is not what's driving the schedule. Hardware is not driving the schedule. It's data review and a review of those aborts. So, just outstanding.
You're kind of pessimist right now if you say it won't launch this year again. Like, it's a crazy thing, but if you're right now saying, oh, Starship won't launch until January again, I feel like you're very in this pessimistic territory, which is bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the world's largest rocket that is using full flow stage combustion engines. That is going to be like fully reusable, airliner-like operations, right? And this is the first glimpse of something like that we are getting to see, and it makes those sorts of proclamations like, oh, it's going to be airliner-like operations with Starship. It makes those sort of proclamations less fantastical. EJ, it looks like you have thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just agreeing with you. Like, sorry. What I was trying to jump in and say is that you know, we saw a pad turnaround in less than 14 days. You know, and this is OLMA, and OLMA. I mean, obviously, from what we've seen from the flyovers, right, is that's an outdated design. I just want to point out the absurdity here of turning around any launch pad in that amount of time. Is that, guys? You know, we talk about vehicle turnaround. You know, with the shuttle program, it was, oh, how fast can you refurbish a shuttle? You got to take the whole engines apart, you know, or how fast can we refurbish a Dragon? Or what's the turnaround time for the first stage? Nobody ever thinks about that the pad takes a beating every time you fire something on it. A lot of rockets aren't made to have their pad, like made with a reusable pad. Some pads need to be refurbished. Like even 39A, taking the blast from those SRBs, the deflectors needed to be refurbished after a certain amount of times, right? The pad turnaround time is part of the airliner-like operations. Like, how useful would a plane be if you couldn't get a gas truck to fill it up, on a jetway, right? Getting your ground service equipment to also be able to be flipped around really quickly is a huge part of this.
Huge.
And yeah, exactly. And we saw them turn this pad around. I mean, one, they put the booster right back down on it and evac'd it out of, they put 12 on it and got all the propellants out, saved the booster. And then, less than 2 weeks later, you see 13 doing a static fire on it. And this is the outdated design.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really good point.
They basically got this pad back to operations again as fast as they are able to reconfigure 39A from Falcon 9 to Falcon Heavy.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
That's the kind of time frame we are talking about. That's if they go from Falcon 9 to Falcon Heavy, they need a bit of time, right? And that was the time they needed for the biggest rocket of all time to be on that pad again and static fire again. That's
unbelievable. 2 weeks. It's crazy.
2 weeks.
And yeah, in terms of the force of it, Chris B reminded me, I was trying to remember what mission number it was, but I mean, STS-124 kind of destroyed the flame trench. He said the thing.
He said the thing!
But absolutely destroyed it. Jay also pointing out, again, Artemis 1 blew out the elevator doors on the launch tower. These are strong with the SRBs. They have quite a punch. It's amazing that you have 33 of these Methalox engines here, and yet here we are testing them again 2 weeks later. It's mind-boggling to see the advance.
You love to see it. You love to see it. We live in a truly amazing time. Like, new space race, new space age, new rockets left and right.
And new Glins.
Next year, it depending on how quickly they are able to change the requirements in Boca Chica, the next year, 2025, might be the first year where we are talking about them hitting their yearly limits of what they are allowed to launch there.
Right. What do we think? What regulatory fun time do we think happens next? Is it going to be the regulatory fun time for a ship catch, or the regulatory fun time for expanding the number of launches possible from Boca Chica?
How about orbit?
Yeah, I agree with him.
Or orbit. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the next step. I mean, that, again, anytime they change the trajectory of it, they need to update the license. So I feel like rather than catching the ship first, the next thing would be, let's get one into orbit. And I think that's going to be the next regulatory holdup, although we'll see how long that actually is.
I don't think the ship will be a huge holdup, by the way. Just here's my unpopular opinion, but I think a ship catch, the thing is, you're always talking about, will it expand the scope? Will it expand the scope of what is also already covered in the environmental assessment? So you basically look at is this everything we have looked at so far, is this crazier to something? Is this making something even more dangerous, even more stressful for certain things?
So you're saying the ship's smaller than the booster, so it's not more dangerous?
Yeah. The ship is smaller than the booster. Is the ship more dangerous to catch than the booster? For like, will it have a higher impact radius? Will it have a higher exclusion zone? Probably not. So I don't think the ship catch will be a big deal. I think the booster was the biggest deal.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's so crazy to think about, because it also makes me think that the ship catch is going to be like, easy. I mean, we already know they can do the flip and burn just fine. They've done it a bunch of times, not only on the low altitude flight tests, but on Starship flights as well, the full stack flights. So I'm not worried about the flip and burn. Yeah, I feel like ship catch, when they try the first one, no problem. I don't know.
I have to point out, Michael Bertoli, I saw posted it in chat, but it's a good point, is the fact that this will have to re-enter not over the Gulf, but over land, over basically a giant part of Texas. So you've got the sonic booms to worry about with that, and the potential for a disaster happening over populated areas.
Yeah.
It's really going to be interesting to see that trajectory. Like, how will they angle the dog leg or what? Because I bet you their first one will be a weird, like, maybe almost overshooting and then using cross range, and like, I bet you there's going to be some crazy thing, because that ship should have a very big amount of cross range. Like, once it's in a belly flop, I could see them, like, because at some point you're basically out of horizontal velocity, then you're going to just
straight
pitch
down
it to do cross range craziness. So I'm really going to be curious because they will use the trajectory of least problems. Like, they will use the safest possible trajectory for the first ship catch, and that's going to be an interesting one.
I wonder if they end up doing something like, almost like a boost back. Like, they null out their velocity in orbit over the Gulf and then keep burning a little bit more. So that way they're coming at the pad from over the Gulf versus over Brownsville. I don't know. It's probably prohibitively costly in a Delta V sense, but who knows?
I mean, they can just invert it. Like, it's possible to invert orbits, right? Like, it's costful, but if you have enough Delta V, you can invert orbits, right? And fly to different direction.
I'm looking at you, EJ. EJ was shaking his head.
Yeah, you can do it in the other direction, right?
Yeah, of course. Why do you need to do that? It flies through the air. You can just turn around.
Because then you're coming in from the ocean instead of from the land for the catch.
Okay.
Test.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, Adrian, you're not gonna need a lot of Delta V to do something like that. The reason why is when a ship re-enters, it's like we were talking about with Dragon, with Crew 8 a second ago. Something like Starship, believe it or not, is going to fly a re-entry profile not that far off from the space shuttle. You're going to try to maximize the amount of time you spend up there. You're going to try to fly on as shallow trajectory as you possibly can. That lowers your overall peak heating, but your period of heating is a lot longer. So, okay, taking that into account, right, you could get this thing basically to the point where it stalls out over the Gulf of Mexico because it's up there for a long period of time. And once again, just like the shuttle, it's going to fall like a brick.
Right.
And the shuttle, had to go around and do helixes to get to the heading alignment. I mean, sorry, you know this, right?
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes
heading alignment circle.
Right? The shuttle can do that. Starship could do that too. I don't see why not. But if you guys cast your mind back to SN15, SN8, those early tests, they did send that thing a little ways out over the water. And then there's actually one of, and Kevin, I know Kevin and Jay are going to kill me. There's a video of Starship, like when it's up there kind of hovering and then it stops, it kind of goes backwards a little bit through its own plume and then falls down.
Yep.
I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that with the Starship coming back from reentry. Because another thing to take into account, guys, is that they're going to have to come in from the ocean. The catch arms face that direction. They're going to have to.
Yeah.
Starship is like, if the catch arms are facing this way, right? Starship is going to have to fly over the pad and come back in and come backwards towards it.
Right.
Because the thermal protection system has to be facing away from the catch arms in order to reintegrate it correctly.
Right.
Right? So it's not as far-fetched of an idea as you might think.
Yeah, one way or the other, there's going to have to be some translation on the part of the ship during the final moments of its flight before it's caught. It's just like, where is it translating from? How far? That sort of thing. It's going to be really interesting. Cool. Let's do some questions from our viewers. You know what? I'm just going to go with this one from Bledlink. It's on topic. When do you expect an orbital flight for Starship? Do we think they'll hit orbit in 2025? Adrian, go first.
Yes, easily. It's okay. Apparently, we are fighting this.
I think there's no way that they get orbit in 2025. The Starship program is a sham. It's completely vaporware. I can't even do it. I can't even.
It's honestly, getting to orbit is a matter of them deciding that they want to do it at this point. Because we are talking about what, like 10 seconds longer burn duration on the Raptor VAX until they have a stable orbit.
Right.
So it's more a matter of like, when do they want to test an orbital profile, as if in not reach, like it will not be no problem to reach it. It's more a problem of them not deciding to do it yet. I think it will be the first or second flight of V2, because I think V2 will be all about testing Starlink payloads. So I think
Flight 7,
probably,
Flight 8.
Yeah, Flight 7. I think, honestly, Flight 7 sounds reasonable right now. I think Flight 6 will be validating what we have seen so far. We know that there will not be a lot of changes. I think Flight 7 will be the one that has payload, and with payload comes orbit.
Well, I agree with everything you said, except for I don't know that we know that there won't be a lot of changes. We know that there's going to be changes. How many and what? All we know is that the FAA was like, yeah, that's fine. So
and they said the changes were minor and in the scope of the current permission.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that. You are our FAA liaison, so
to be fair, and that's another thing, because there are people who are like, oh, why does the FAA not tell us what changes they will actually make? Because SpaceX is supposed to tell us that. The FAA literally says, like, hey, contact SpaceX, because SpaceX should tell you what the changes are. Yeah, good luck.
I mean, it could be that it's all minor stuff that maybe even they don't know yet until they get done reviewing all of these aborts.
100 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
And just to clarify, I'm not talking about there will be no changes on the vehicle. There will obviously be major improvements, software, hardware. I'm talking about the scope of the regulatory, which is mostly stuff like trajectory and safety critical systems.
Right.
So that will be less changes in these.
EJ, what do you think? Orbit in 2025? Or if not, when?
Yeah, of course. I mean, barring some crazy, like happenstance or something, yeah, of course. I think they're gonna hit. I think they're gonna get into orbit in like February.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Actually, Jay has that video teed up that I was telling you guys about with Starship already kind of like flying backwards through its own plume. Check this out. So like you see, they're leaning it out, like it's leaning out to over the water.
I think at that point it's actually translating.
See what I'm talking about? So it's gonna have to go out over the Gulf if it's going to get caught, right? I mean, keep in mind, I think that was which one did I link? I think 10. That was SN10.
That's 10.
Yeah. Yeah, you see it fly backwards, and then it kind of, I mean, it's kind of leveling out. Like if you're looking at this picture that we have right there, the launch site is screen right, stage left. So it's definitely tilted its nose down a little bit forward, and it's translating backwards. It's translating towards me and Sawyer, which, yeah, I mean, it's got to go out over the Gulf. And yeah, I mean, in regards to this, like, sorry, it was a little late. I wanted to show everybody because, I mean, let's be real. This was awesome. This was
that's exactly what I'm thinking right now in my head is I can't believe they did this, and I can't believe I got to see and photograph it and stream it live.
Right.
Like, what a cool machine. I mean, I know I'm out here every single day covering Starship. I know we talk about Starship nonstop, but look at this. I cannot wait until we see a full, like, actual V2 Starship coming in hot like this. It is the coolest thing. It's so massive. It looks like it's not even moving. It's just lazily falling down to the sky at terminal velocity. Like, oh, so cool. Anyways, please continue.
Which is why, if you're not, you should subscribe to NASASpaceflight. Thumbs up so more people know about it. Get the notification bell so you know when we go live. What else do YouTubers say? All that stuff.
I mean, you joke, but it's true. It does help the channel. It is completely free, so please.
Wait a minute, guys. You're telling me we only have 100 likes? There's like 3,000 people watching the stream. Do us the solid. Hit that. That actually super helps us.
It's free.
You know?
It's free to help.
It is free. Yes, sub free.
Please, it's the algorithm gods.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
the algorithm. Look at the launch site. All they had is the legs for Mount A. Like, look at that.
There's nothing there.
You all see this and go bonkers about the past flights. You know what I see? A current format idea for the, like, because I'm right now thinking about, like, fun things to do on the flame trench between the years, kinda. Like somewhere in the, like, in the off zone, like somewhere after Christmas, maybe like 2 or 3 shows. And what if we do a guess the steel tank? Like, we have sections of old starships, and you're like, okay, that was SN9, or that was SN10, or that was test tank SN. That would be fun. I like that.
Can't wait. Sawyer, I don't think you got to answer. What do you think? Orbit 2025?
Yeah, the question is whether it's going to be V1 or V2.
2, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the first V2 flight goes for orbit. Because they're already making the crazy license changes then for all of the upgrades to the vehicles. So while you're already trying to get, that extra regulatory stuff, why not throw in for orbit? I mean, SpaceX has even said that after this next flight, there's a good chance that the pace will slow down a bit. And I think that's part of the reason why, is getting ready for that next step.
Yeah, fair. Starship Updates is asking, when first booster reflight? I think next year.
Tell us. It's in your name. Give us an update. Why are you asking us? No. What do you think, Adrian?
Next year. I think next year for sure. I remain of my opinion it will be the third booster that will be caught. I think the third booster that will be caught will be the first that reflies. I think the second one will be like static fired again, and like maybe they will go a bit deeper, but something might come up. I think the third one will be really one that they will refly.
See, like, all bets are off the table, Adrian, because like I normally agree with you, right? Because that seems like the careful and considered approach, right? But then again, they just caught the booster, and then like that just absolute torture test from the Raptor engine. Like, I can't help but think, like, in the back of my mind, like, is there anything these guys can't do? Like, clearly traditional aerospace is like completely out the window here, right?
Yep.
Like, maybe it's the first one. Like, dude, I don't know. If we saw 12 fly, I think I'd blow a gasket.
I think it's not limited by their craziness, because I think if they're crazy enough, they would do it already with this vehicle. I think they totally could repair this and refly. I think it's limited by the rapid iteration that still happens on the program.
Yeah.
So they kind of don't want to waste a flight for an older vehicle. For example, the old outdated booster right now, they for now want to move forward. They want to improve like the current design they have. It's for a reflight of hardware, you kind of need to get to a stabler hardware point where you actually want to refly your hardware. And that's, I think, the limitation. I don't think they couldn't do it, because at this point, I will not bet against SpaceX. They're crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Ridiculous.
Like the hardware that we see roll out to the launch pad, SpaceX is iterating its designs with Starship so fast that why are we zooming in on the outdated Ship 26? SpaceX is iterating so fast that by the time something makes it out to the pad, it's already obsolete and out of date, just like Ship 26, which is completely worthless.
They removed our camera. There we go.
Okay.
They removed our cameras to show Ship 26 full screen. Thank you so much.
Also, bird attack, apparently.
I'd rather watch the birds.
Yeah, I think.
Gary.
I mean, honestly, that's another prediction I will make here. I'm sure we all probably are very aligned on that. At least I would assume. There will be not a single vehicle that uses Raptor 2 that will be reused. They are already starting to pursue this next generation of engines. Why would they slow down while the vehicles don't have them yet?
Yeah, I think you're right. Did Sawyer?
Oh, I see sorry, EJ, I see there's doubt. Do you think there will be a V2 reflight?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Before you answer, can I just... That weird zoom that Jay did on 26, like... Does that mean they have a preset that not only takes the camera and points it at 26, but also there's something in software that, what is that zoom? That looks like a software zoom.
Also, I stand corrected. That was not Jay that does that zoom. That is Kevin Michael Reed zooming.
I was going to say. Jay wouldn't do that to us.
Yeah, Jay's too good. But yeah, I don't know. Let's go around the horn. When first booster reflight? Sawyer? What do you think?
I think it's going to have V2s on it. I'll be honest. Why wait to go down the road? Sure, you get better performance and stuff and fewer moving parts with the Raptor 3s, but why wait that long? If you've got the confidence in it, if you've got enough flights under your belt, and you have the V2s up and running, why are you going to wait another year or so until everything is fitted with the Raptor 3s? As soon as you get that confidence, I could see them launching mid to late next year with the V2s on one of those boosters a second time.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think mid to late next year they will have V3 on boosters. That's maybe that's my crazy prediction, but I think on flight 8 or 9 they will have full V3.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. EJ, what do you think, my guy?
It's actually not that far off from what Sawyer was saying. You have the hardware. You have the hardware here. Raptor 3 is going to take some time to scale. I mean, have we seen any other Raptor 3s than the one that they were like, look, number 1. He was number 1.
I have not, but that doesn't mean there aren't more. We've seen them testing Raptor 3 at the one of the vertical cells at McGregor. Surely they have multiple, but yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah,
EJ.
but production is
also with version 3 of with version 3 of Raptor.
Also,
if they do refly version 2s of Raptor, then they will get precious data that they can use to inform Raptor version 3. So that is like a sort
Data's
of
king, man.
A check mark in that column. Like you said, you have the hardware, fly it, get the data, use that to inform Raptor 3 before you're already tooled up and solidified on the design of Raptor 3, assuming they're not already those things.
Also, sorry, Jake, can I just point out really quick? Think back to Falcon 9's landings. What version of Falcon 9 did the first landing? I believe it was a 1.2.
It's a full thrust.
1.2 full thrust.
It was the first launch of the full thrust. Yeah. Stop doing 26. Nobody likes 26. And now even
with the blur to isolate it. Wow. But genuinely though, the evolution of Falcon 9 from that first landing one, they had just evolved from the honeycomb square bottom versus the rounded version they use now for the 9 engines. It was still painted all white. The thing was bulky. It was stubby, basically. It was stubby Falcon. And they landed with that. And they learned from that for the iterations all the way up to the current Block 5.
Yeah.
I think there will be a point where we say, oh, I wonder how many Raptor 3s they have and will they even be able to scale it up? And then Raptor 3 number 107 or so rolls by in Boca Chica.
Right.
And we are like, huh?
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
What do you mean triple digits? I mean, that happened before. Where we are like, Like where they suddenly we jumped like 100 digits at some point out of nowhere. It was like with Raptor 2, we're like, oh yeah, they have like 60, 70, 168, huh?
Yeah. It's tricky because we used to be able to see Raptors get delivered in Boca Chica, and you could see the memes on them. Yes, they put memes directly on Raptors. It was amazing. Still do. But now they're kind of delivered off Remedios over by the shipping and receiving tent. There's not really a good way to get lens on them. So the only time that we can see Raptors are while they are transiting from where they're stored, which is like a little annex building next to Mega Bay 1. At least that's one place where they are. To a bay for installation on a vehicle. And really, that only means Mega Bay 2. Because that annex is right off of Mega Bay 1, and they can just move the Raptors from the annex straight into the bay through a little door, and so we never even see them until the booster rolls out. So hopefully, when version 3 of Raptor is in Starbase, we do get some eyes on it. But it could be a while. They could have a bunch there already. Who knows? Flawed Perspective is asking, how will the new flap design... How about the new flap design and why that will mitigate the burn through? So that the version 2 of Starship, which we're talking about a lot, we're also talking about version 2 of Raptor. So sorry if you're getting confused about what version of what thing. But version 2 of Starship has relocated the forward flaps to sort of move them out of the plasma flow a little bit further leeward on the vehicle. And hopefully will mean that those flap hinges, that critical flap hinge, will suffer less of a burn through. I'm not sure what Flawed Perspective wanted us to ramble on about here, but yes, hopefully they do in fact do that.
What's Flawed on about? Sorry, I was reading something.
Burn through.
No, you're good. The burn through on the flaps and version 2's change in placement.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. I got the model for this. I got the model.
I love wild speculation time with EJ, and I love like model demonstration time with EJ, whatever you want to call it. So let's go. Let's do this. Full screen EJ.
Sam. All right, cool. I'm good. So check this out. This is a Starship model. This is the older model. See how, and this is what Jack was talking about. You see how the flaps are 180 degrees off from each other? Well, on the newer versions, they're up here. Now they're clocked at about 140 degrees apart. Now, why? How's that going to fix the burn through? Tiles are out of the plasma flow. The plasma is basically going to go up past the hinge. If you look at this, the hinge is right in the flow of plasma coming off the side of the vehicle. By moving them up and clocking them a little bit higher at 10 and 2, right? Like if you're driving a car, it basically gets it out of a lot of the windward flow. Also, the tiles are better. That too. Also,
they're also not floppy like yours.
Hey, don't hate.
You gotta make zoom sounds while you fly it around. What are you doing?
LSR, I'm sure, is already having a field day with this.
That's so getting clipped.
We're all we're very mature, normal, well-adjusted adults here.
Adult is a strong word.
We are only adults, and everything else is just false.
Cool.
The buzzer. No, I was right, Kevin. Kevin, is that Kevin or Jay? I'm not sure. They're like merging into one person that I tried to address.
wait. Is it Kevin? Or is it Jay? It's Jay.
It's Jay.
It's Jay.
I'm so
Jay is the
easily
conductor.
amused.
Yeah, again, about the whole adults thing.
Eric Bueller. Bueller.
What are you doing?
Bueller.
Just Bueller.
Hashtag save Ferris.
Hashtag save Ferris, man. Oh.
I actually got into an elevator once with Ben Stein, and it was weird hearing his voice in real life sounding like from on TV. Just saying.
New Sawyer Flex unlocked. What?
Oh, so you just meet actors now too?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
how
just
this
a thing you
works?
do.
This was when I used to be a professional actor when I was a child, by the way. This was at the Rainbow Room at NBC in New York City.
That's a flex. That's a flex. That's a huge flex. I've never been in the Rainbow Room at NBC.
But it's weird hearing him come out and go, hello. Oh my gosh, that's him.
Oh, good deal. Eric Bueller is asking, how do you all think SpaceX will eliminate the hot stage ring? Also, Eric, I'm sorry. I'm sure you get that joke a lot with your last name. I apologize. But it was right there. I couldn't do it. Also, it was fun to watch Adrian not understand what was going on. But what do we think SpaceX will do to eliminate the old hot stage ring there? I don't think they will eliminate it, but I think at some point it'll be integrated into the booster. Yeah, I don't know. Sawyer, you're nodding. Do you agree?
That's what I think they're going to have to do eventually, is just meld it into the design. I know right now, obviously, the concern is, hey, it's, it gets some burn to it. It definitely seems toasty, especially if you just look at even the top of Booster 12 after recovering it. So I'm sure they'll have some kind of coating or something on it like they do for Falcon 9, where it can withstand all those re-entry heating and being blasted by 6, potentially up to 9 Merlin engines on the ship.
Raptor.
So I think it's going to have to be integrated. Or Raptors, sorry.
No worries. You spend
They're
so
all
much...
available in the engine collection at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. They're all the same.
Sawyer, is Adrian like sending you like $5 every time? Like how?
This is not me. This is not me. This is not me.
EJ,
This is not me.
any thoughts on the old HSR there?
They'll just find a way to integrate it into their current forward skirt, because okay, so think about it. The thing's going to still have to be removable. You're going to have to get at the grid fin actuators and stuff, maybe for maintenance, if not for anything, right? So, hot staging ring integration is going to have to be something that you can take off, right? It's going to have to be something like that. Now, maybe not something you jettison during flight, obviously, right? But there's a bunch of components under there. You're going to have some type of hatch to get stuff in there, to get people in there. So, I don't know, maybe a door, but who knows? They're gonna find a way to integrate it, but I think the challenge there is figuring out a way to do that so you can still get at the grid fins,
get
at the pressurization lines. There's all kinds of fun stuff under there.
All right, hear me out.
I'm hearing.
They'll eliminate the hot stage ring, and then inside the nozzle of each of the vacuum Raptors on the ship, they'll have a clown. And then at stage SEP, the clowns just push the ship away, and then die. That would
You're going
work,
to say
right?
that they spray it with seltzer from the little bottles from their flowers.
Also good. Little flower. Also good.
Squirty flowers to help with separation.
That's how. Adrian, any thoughts? Good buddy? I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Glennie.
No, I have no thoughts left after this proposal of a hot staging concept.
You can call it clown staging. All right, Ninja Decimator, pew pew pew. Thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. James Dawson becoming a Padrat member. Bideford with a $25 super chat. Thank you, Bideford. They say, here's my scoop. My Jack is always right. Sawyer is the cutest shuttle pun nerd. EJ is right about everything he saw on Dragon's Return, as I saw it as well, and is my Margarita pal.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
What?
It's beer o'clock.
I'm not a Margarita pal?
I mean, you're a Topo Chico guy.
That doesn't mean I'm not a Margarita pal. Man, I'm hurt. Biden.
You're a Topo Chico, I'm a rum and Coke, and he's a Margarita.
No, the Topo Chico is not my alcoholic. It's water. It's literally bubbly water.
Well, then how come I was at an airport and they had a Topo Chico hard seltzer lounge?
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Huh?
Come on.
Thank you, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport.
But yeah, thank you, Bideford. I humbly request to be a Margarita pal as well. Although I tend to go like spicy tequila and ice and lime. That's it.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah. Also,
good
don't
point.
Don't drink. Drinking's not cool unless you're old enough.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, that. Terry R., thanks for becoming a new member at Padrat level. Rankly gifting a Red Team membership. RC Horseman, thank you, RC. Now and forever, gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Hoppy, not Hopper, becoming a red team member. Magnus grabbing a bunch of the knitted stuff. They got the knitted blanket and the beanie. Well, I guess I should say blankie and the beanie. They say life goal: get an NSF live stream from Endoya Spaceport. That would be cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm in. Let's go.
Sold. I know a guy who can operate cameras for live streams. I'm just saying. Magnus, again, thank you. Telstar86, they say, here's something to trigger chat. If we're talking about what's better, Ship 26 better than Hopper. No, I'm not serious. Ship 26 is cursed. Thank God you're not serious, Telstar86.
That's why we love you.
The buzzer. Ninja Decimator. Pew, pew, pew. Jay is on the Switch today. Good job, Jay. They say, here's $10 to stop calling it New Sheppy. You can only do that if you wear a kilt. George,
got you there.
George, thank you for the support. They say, speculate on how much Glenny can throw if expended. Adrian?
How much can... oh, God.
Glenny.
Sorry.
You almost said Glenny. You almost said
it.
No, sorry.
Just say a number, Adrian, and we'll move on. I'm sorry.
I actually don't have any good idea because the payload numbers of New Glenn are super, super, super outdated. And they never properly updated them. Hard to say. I think the last number for New Glenn was 45 tons to Leo.
That's right.
Yeah, so I wish we got like further updated numbers because there's a ton of outdated numbers on New Glenn. And I really hope once we get like a press kit for the first launch, that will be really like, okay, let's refresh Wikipedia.
Right.
It's like let's just update everything. Probably like in this ballpark of 50 tons, somewhere there. That's my prediction.
Eric Frazier, thanks for this super chat. They say Eric has discontinued Capcom in protest of Glenny. Sean M, thank you for the support. They say Barbarians on Mars D&D live stream with Adrian. Oh my God, Adrian, we need to play D&D. An NSF D&D campaign.
Oh my gosh,
fire, so fire.
I mean, I literally have my self-built dice tower right next to me.
I remember when you were building that. That thing rules.
Yeah.
Can we play Risk instead?
Wait,
Ship
what?
26 going to be a villain that we have to fight?
That would be amazing. I love the sound effects. This question or this super chat just makes me wonder, like, what character would everybody play? I always play a stupid character by design. That way, I can just go me smash, me smash things, and I don't have to like actually be smart about how I play D&D. I just go smash things. But yeah, I wonder what kind of character Das would roll. Or EJ,
Imagine
what kind of
the community made us character cards.
Oh God, they would make my character in a kilt. Oh, that would be
Of course
so cursed.
they would.
That would be so cursed.
I'm in. Let's do this.
I'm also in. Astro Joe, they say boycott Capcom until Glenny goes away. Ninja Decimator, pew pew pew, says no Capcom if Glenny is a thing. Wow, you guys really love Glenny.
Wow.
I'll be sure to keep calling it Glenny.
You're getting a mass protest.
We love our
in
Capcom
here.
members in Discord.
We do love our
Watch
Capcom
chat
members.
go on a strike.
For real, we love you, members. I will apologize profusely in the post-show, which you have access to if you're Capcom and above. I mean, if you don't want the pre-show and the post-show, or the tank farm and the combustion byproducts, as I like to call them, then I guess you don't want it. Telstar86, thank you for the support. They say subscribe to NSF Plus to see Jack in a kilt. No, that does not exist. Does not exist. Steve Kalovic, thanks for gifting 5 red team members, and also for the super chat telling me I can be your margarita buddy. Also asking if Alex calls me Hack, which he does not, but EJ does, so that's okay.
Who calls you Yak?
Yeah, right. Jonathan, grabbing. Oh wait, what?
I was going to say, it is not yak. It is yak or lantern for the next week.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I'm into it.
Are we having...
I'm orange. I'll paint my...
Are we doing some...
I'll paint my face orange. I'll be a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, and all I'll say for the entire day is, I'm orange! And then no one will enjoy being around me.
No, I would. I'm here for it.
I'd be down
Please
for
do
that.
It's the spooky special NSF. Sorry, the Flame Trench. I almost said the old name. We are doing an Ares 1 special.
Yeah,
That is horrifying. I mean, the next Flame Trench is November 1st, so...
Nice. So what you're saying is I should go real hard on Halloween night.
Basically, we stream from the 31st to November 1st, and on November 1st we start to blast Christmas songs.
No. Order Christmas sweaters. Don't blast Christmas songs yet. I just saw a Christmas commercial on TV. It's too soon.
I have All I Want for Christmas Is You in my playlist all year long.
Oh.
I thought we were friends.
You big softy.
Wait, you have that all year? Oh.
And Last Christmas is also my year-long playlist.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Yes. Yes.
Brilliant. Jonathan, thanks for grabbing the knitted blanket and an NSF hat. They say, shout out to Mark for having his photo reposted by Elon. I assume they're talking about Max because, as we all know, Max's new name is Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Mark.
As we all know.
As we all know.
Hey, you. No? All right.
What? Are you doing the room over there?
No.
Okay. I missed it. I'm sorry. I blew it.
Anyway, all right, it's weird now. I'm going to stop.
All right. Anonymous grabbing some stuff from the store. They say, don't worry, I checked the delivery address.
Happy crispy noises.
Crispy will be so happy.
He literally will. That's the best part. Nibbles, thank you for the support. They say, are we still making a plan to shave Alex's head so he's bald like myself, Jack and Ship 26?
We try.
We'll see what we can do. No promises. Astro Knucklehead, thank you for the support. They say, KMR and I can produce the greatest Super Bowl commercial ever. February 9th, Ship 26 with a huge Coors silver bullet logo, P2P, that's point to point, to Golden, Colorado. That would be sick. Would the Coors logo turn blue when they put cryopropellant on there?
Genius.
I'm just saying.
On the world.
I'm just saying.
Join in.
Caleb Crow, thank you for the super chat. They say, just make the grid fins the hot stage ring. Huh? Multispace, I think you might have a new Kerbal, a cursed Kerbal challenge. All right, well, I think we'll wrap things up here with a comment from someone named D-Pod Dolphin Productions. I don't know why anyone would make that their screen name online, especially not if they were like, I don't know, say really into maps. But they said, Ship 26 bad, 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 Ship 26 bad. It goes
Jay's
on.
just like,
I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
It's God.
We need some Ship 26 love in the chat.
Aren't you busy?
No.
I'm not busy doing anything, and somehow, even though I'm not operating today, I ended up operating. So, well, parts of the stream.
Classic NSF.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to take a day off. I haven't had a day off in months. And then you take a day off, and what do? You do NSF stuff because we
freaking cursed. We need to delete this song.
All we did, though, was zoom in on Ship 26 and then blur everything except Ship 26 on that zoom.
That would be good.
That's what
I
he
was
did.
also not supposed to be on commentary today, by the way. Just I joined the Kevin line. Like, yeah,
classic.
I'm gonna hop on for the China part, and here we are.
Classic NSF.
No. Unzoom. De-zoom.
All right.
Doff the zoom.
Oh man.
This is by the way the stand for the bad ships that they really hate. They really usually put on that spot. They put ships they really dislike.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's fact. Like that's the thing.
Yep. Everyone knows that.
That we are doing.
Where do we? That was not what I was doing, but close enough. Yeah, I don't know. What do we want to talk about? Because they're still working on GIFs.
Oh god, I see
them. They're like actively being loaded into the thing.
Yep, I see it. Let's see. We should let's see what's not launching next week. Is there something cool?
Nah.
I got something. If you guys want to talk about it, we can only really speculate. But there was a Wall Street Journal article today. There was a Wall Street Journal. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. What do you guys make of that?
Give us a little refresher. I totally know what you're talking about, but like for viewers that might not know what you're talking about, like what's the scoop?
The Wall Street Journal released an article today basically saying that Boeing is looking to offload Starliner and ISS operations out of its portfolio. They want to sell Starliner and their kind of operations division of the ISS, because Boeing operates the ISS. And not a lot of people know that. Now, once again, I wouldn't pay it much mind, guys. Like, we're all spaceflight nutcases here. You know that sometimes stuff gets lost in translation to the kind of, more not spaceflight-centric media outlets out there, right? But also, in Boeing's Q3 earnings report, they also had they allocated about $250 million to potential termination of contracts for Starliner suppliers in the future. So, if the news article comes out, I'd be like, meh. If the earnings meeting came out, I'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe. But both of those things kind of happening is like, guys, what's going on here? Yeah, that's a little strange. I mean, I don't think they will, for what it's worth, but yeah, no, that's definitely something that's kind of like, wait a minute, you're going to do what? Because the new CEO of Boeing, Kelly Ortberg, was basically saying, like, we have to cut not profitable stuff. And, I mean, we need to cut not profitable stuff, and I'll just leave it at that.
They cut door plugs. That's not profitable.
Sawyer, watch out. I think I see a red dot on your forehead.
No, that's just the ULA sniper.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any takes on that.
It's crazy, huh?
Crazy is certainly a word for it.
We were trying to think, like, over on my chat, like who would want to buy that?
Blue?
Like Blue, maybe? Yeah. See, that's what pops into your head. Like, Blue, maybe?
Why?
Maybe.
We've got New Shepard. Why would they want to get into
Crew Capsule?
Another capsule game?
Because New Shepard's capsule presumably is optimized for the suborbital hop, like tourism kind of thing, and not like something you could directly translate into an orbital craft. I don't know if that's the case, but that's my guess. I have no idea.
I don't see them getting into the orbital game though for crew. I mean, if they wanted to, they would have made a crew variant, I feel like, already, or had planned for one for New Shepard, or for New Glenn, and there is no plan for one for New Glenn right now.
That we know of. I mean, there's no way they're going to build a space station and then not ferry passengers to and from the space station. That would be bonkies, right? What are they going to pay SpaceX to dock a Dragon at Orbital Reef or whatever? No way.
I wouldn't be surprised. And again, you've got Dream Chaser, which is working on a crew variant down the line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait. I'm being told in the back channel. Oh God. There was a requested video.
I'm guessing by EJ.
Oh God. What's the video?
Oh, we're gonna do it. Oh, we're doing it.
Because so they give a bit of a different story in 10, and yes, I did this to make it. How many tests? Who's the test?
So choppy, I couldn't understand any of it.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah. The whole point of me linking that to Jay and Kevin and everybody else was to play it when Adrian was on here and we were talking about Starship. But now that we're playing it now, it's kind of weird.
All right, well,
it's also never leaving me. It's always there.
Can you link that just for research purposes?
Yeah, so throw that in the chat.
Yeah. I'll send it to you later.
Don't make it short. Just don't make it a short.
Make it a short.
I
make it a short.
Of it, but now that you mention it,
it needs to be a short. All right.
I got some editing to do tonight now.
Oh, it's linked twice in the back channel.
Yeah, it's been linked by Kevin and Jay. Sorry, guys, about it being choppy. It's a lot funnier when you can understand it.
All right.
Just saying.
I think we've gone 3 hours this week, which is insane. I think we should.
Bro.
I think we should probably.
Bro, let's go 12. Let's go 12-hour flame trench. Let's go.
You want to do a 12-hour flame trench? I mean, I'm down.
After 16 hours of Twitch streaming yesterday?
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, I'm down. What do you want to talk about next?
Nothing. Let's go.
All right, cool. I have ramen to eat and tequila to drink.
Yes.
Seriously though,
This cursed song.
You know, we didn't do the. We're gonna thank the membies after the. All right, we're doing gifts. We're doing gifts. Thank you to our membies, and thank you to everyone that supported the stream. There we go. Wait, no, that's not. It's
It was
still,
just the swoosh for the sake of swoosh.
It's still gifts. There we go.
You guys okay?
Thank you to our launch directors. Thank you to our flight engineers. Thank you to everybody who supports what we do, but especially to those two groups of people because those are the two higher levels of support. So, thank you. We have the coolest dang job ever, and the only reason we do is because of y'all. So, once again, if you can't support us monetarily, don't sweat it. Just hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us. It doesn't have to be a monetary thing because the amazing people in these two lists, under launch director and flight engineer, are pulling the weight for everybody. So do not fret. Thank you again to launch directors. Thank you again to flight engineers. Y'all are the best. All right, gifts and music. Let's go.
And also thank you to the Space Pope with dropping 50 bones.
Oh, Space
right
Pope
there.
took 50 more bucks. They say Space be with
50
you.
bones.
And
also
Space
with
Pope.
you.
Space be with you too, Space Pope. Bless your reptilian scales.
Oh, yes. I think it might be time to wrap up this stream then. Let's go.
All right, there's the music. There's the gifts. You know the deal. If you're a Capcom member or above, hang out in the post-show with us. But yeah, there's another flame trench.
Even Jay's computer hates this song.
It does. The choppiness kind of ruins the vibe, but whatever. All right. I think we gift. We gift all the gifts. Thanks for watching, everybody. Adrian, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was the literal stream definition of a roller coaster that I didn't expect. Like, I got into a car ride, and the car turned into a roller coaster.
And then drove into a wall.
Drove into like the water and became like a submarine. It was a roller coaster again. It was wild. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on and for being responsible for the creation of Glenny. We appreciate you. EJ, thanks for being on as well.
Yeah. Sorry, Glenny. It's just I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
It's so bad. Don't say it.
It's so bad. That phrase is so gosh darn bad, bro. Oh my God! Stop! This is so bad. No. All right.
Oh, we're getting the music.
Oh, they're wrapping us up. Hey, thank you. I know it's a privilege being on here. It's a privilege being with this excellent community, guys. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for having me.
Good deal, buddy. Thanks as always. We love you. Follow EJ on Twitch. Do the Twitch things. I don't know how Twitch works, but EJ's on Twitch all the time. So give him.
What are you playing right now, EJ? Do you have like a?
The show is never going to end.
Dude, all right, I'm playing Satisfactory, and I'm building the Pillar of Autumn from Halo and Satisfactory because I wanted to build my factory inside a spaceship. So, yeah, it's to scale. It's 1 kilometer long, and it's gigantic, and it's taking me forever. That's why I streamed 16 hours yesterday.
I'm kind of surprised it's not Factorio.
Dude, we already have Satisfactory. I played Factorio and Satisfactory. You never see me again.
But the new update is out.
Yeah, I know the new update is out, man. I can't physically stream for like 32 hours a day. I can't do that. I want to.
So you're limiting your exposure to automation games by like not touching Factorio right now.
Yes.
I'm just loving Jack's dancing.
I'll forget to pay my mortgage, man. We'd be screwed.
No, don't full screen that. All right, thanks for watching the Flame Trench. Slayer, thanks for being on.
I was gonna say, what am I, chopped liver?
Yes.
Thanks for having me on. I said Glenny as a joke to make fun of you, and now it's become a real thing, Jack. So I regret my decisions, and yet I don't regret it at the same time. Also, we just had 2 people upgrade to the highest level of support that NSF offers.
Aaron Pickering, Jared Walker, both becoming flight engineers. My God, y'all are the best. Seriously.
You know what else is the best? NSF socials. So if you don't follow them already, you should definitely follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those.
All the places you can get your information and that way be up to date. Not the... Why?
That is not the best.
Why? Thank you to Jay for operating the stream. Jay, you are the best. All right, with that, we have another Flame Trench in the bag. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one, maybe even as soon as Sunday for Shuttle Sunday. Hooray!
Just like they caught the ship. Or the booster. They caught the booster.
They caught the booster.
They caught the booster.
They caught the booster.
The booster, they caught it.
Please, for the love of God, let this show end.
They did surgery on a grape.
And then they caught the booster.
Then they caught the grape? What?
And then they caught the grape
They
with the chopstick.
did helicopter on Mars.
Please end it. End it.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up.
It's orange! 125! Oh my god! Decollage! Put that in the big bag.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? Sure. We don't need any more of these.